question, AJ. Why do we have a pre-show show?
I mean, friggin' hell, Frank, give me an easier one. We have a pre-show show because it shows, well, it explains to our listeners that, in fact, we're human beings. I think there's a bit of an aura that people kind of create for themselves when they are in front of the microphone, like Terry Wogan or Clive Tilsley. People like that have like a bit of an aura about them, and this kind of normalises.
Based on being sort of bald. Was Terry Baldwin? Terry Baldwin. It was Terry Wogan bald.
No.
Later on in life, did he not get a no?
He had a good head of hair for as long as I was aware of him on the TV, yeah.
I'm just trying to compare myself to Terry Wogan, you see.
That's a bit brave.
Anyway.
We've been doing this 18 months. He did it for 50 years.
Yeah. And then just sort of dropped dead without anybody.
It was a very short illness, and it was really sudden during that kind of deathly 2016 that we had, where everybody died.
Can I actually mention this? Because you're taking me off on a little bit of a tangent, really, because I've been questioning life. Over the last few weeks, I've been questioning the theory of life, and particularly because of Donald Trump and the way he's running amok and making threats right across the. I think his latest one was with NATO, but then he turned around and said to NATO, for the last 25 years, you've been arguing that Denmark should be doing more to protect Greenland than they've actually been doing. Then all of a sudden, when I turn around and say, listen, I'm going to take control of Greenland, then you're all up in arms.
He's causing an all-out war by doing it. He's planning on taking Greenland by force. He said it would be whatever means necessary.
Hasn't he made a financial offer now?
20 billion.
20 billion. Is it billion or trillion?
20 billion, I believe.
Right. And he's offered each citizen of Greenland £100,000, $100,000 US.
Yes.
I'm in. Mate, if I'm living in Greenland now, I'm a Trump supporter.
Bleeding hell, Frank.
I know. Listen, I know it's a touchy subject, but sorry, coming back to what I was thinking about.
Even the printer's going mad at you.
I know the printer's it's criticising me in the background there. That's actually
why.
It does actually.
It's even telling you're wrong with the noises.
Yeah, it just does sound like that. But yeah, going back to why I've gone off on a tangent there. So I've been thinking about life, and I've been saying to myself that I'm a big believer that we all live in parallel universes, so that even when we're dead, we're still alive.
Okay.
But I also feel as though, because this is a very temperamental world and it could come to an end any time soon, particularly with the way Trump is wielding his power right across the world. But I think we'll all come to the point anyway that we'll all die together. So you don't actually die. We think people die, but we'll all die together. Does that make sense? All those parallel universes will just come crashing together, and we'll all be obliterated, and we'll all die together.
It's really important that you know that we are a non-league podcast about football in the Northwest.
I know what you say there, you see, but I've had a lot of compliments about the pre-show show, because that's what we were talking about. They've actually said that they actually liked the pre-show.
Yeah, because my endless humour and demand for chocolate, that's what's leading it. Yeah. It's not the political debate we're having.
Could it actually be my dulcet tones? I know I've always accused you of having dulcet tones, but I've got, a big plug for St. Helens Mecca Bingo. That's my place of solace. That's where I go to relax. And when I say relax, you know, when my number's just about to come up, it doesn't. So even for a £5, the palpitations are enormous. They're really out of control, and I'm ready to take a heart attack just for a £5 win. And then often when I do shout, I'm sharing it 3 ways, so I'm getting £1.33. But still, I've come close to death doing it. But listen, I know going off on a tangent, but big shout out to the Mecca Bingo in St. Helens, to all the people that are involved there, and to the one person that Darren, who's one of the bingo callers there, turned around and said, "You've got a very soothing voice, Frank." I don't know whether that's a compliment or he fell asleep.
Does he listen to the show?
Well, no, he's not a listener of the show, but he got told we did a podcast and he started listening to one. And he's not a football fan. I think he's more rugby league, as you would be up in that sort of
St Helens, yeah.
Neck of the woods. But he said I've got a very soothing voice, so
right.
I'm not gonna argue with that. I mean, that could go both ways. It could have meant that he started watching it, and I was so soothing I sent him to sleep.
Yeah, that's fair. We already have one listener who admits he listens to this podcast in order to fall asleep.
Who's that?
Jayhawks.
Jayhawk says that, does he?
Jayhawk says that, yeah. He puts this on for bedtime sleeping.
All right. Well, that's okay.
That's absolutely fine, yeah.
Yeah.
People do that.
The idea that we're going to bed with Jayhawks for the night time.
Franklin, just be careful.
I know, you've got to be very careful with that one, haven't you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but listen, sending all our love to Burscough Football Club as well.
And too much love to Jayhawks, clearly.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? The reason why we have it. But it gives us a bit of a warm-up, and like you say, it gives people a better impression about, there's a personality behind just the show.
Yeah, of course. Everybody likes to know who the real people are behind the microphone. I think that's why the Overlap decided to start doing one. A cold open, so to speak. And I like it. I think it just gives us a bit of humanity. It switches off from the football and just lets us be idiots for a few minutes before we start getting down to the nitty-gritty of non-league football. Yeah,
and what have you been watching? So listen, we often talk about Netflix and Apple and what we've been watching.
Well, Frank, yes, right. I have been watching something.
It's a good intro for you, this.
Yes, it is, yes. So, it's on Disney Plus, and it's called Good American Family. All right. So, it's about a family who adopt a 7-year-old girl with dwarfism. Okay, right. They adopt her, all right? And immediately from the off, they start to notice behavioural difficulties about her, which is, normal.
Yeah.
But then the plot thickens a little bit when they start to feel like she's not actually a child and that she's actually a fully grown adult impersonating a child.
Oh,
I know. And the really weird thing is this is all based on true story to a degree. This actually happened.
This is actually a serious drama.
It is, yes.
Because a lot of this has been made of this in comedy, isn't it? Because Look Who's Talking, is it? Mm-hmm. Is it Look Who's Talking, where the baby's an adult?
Yes.
Or speaks in adult language. There's been various comedies where an adult has been in a child's body, or vice versa.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, this is based on a relatively true story.
This is based on a relatively true story. I don't know, because for once in my life, I have not Googled the real events that happened whilst watching the show.
It's very tempting, isn't it?
It is very tempting, yes. And normally, I absolutely do it. And I think that's part of my ADHD, is that I have to know everything about what's actually going on. And then I'll throw some random facts at Jamie about what it is that we're watching and the realities kind of behind it. But what it does do is spoil the show for me, so I know what's going to happen before the episodes have shown it. I'd rather not do that with this one at the minute, and I think that's largely because, although I'm watching this show, it makes me incredibly uncomfortable because of this little girl tearing through this family. Wreaking havoc, causing danger.
So what's it called?
It's called Good American Family, and it's on Disney Plus.
American Family. Well, listen, I mean, if I start explaining that to Rowena, she'll buy into that straight away. We've been watching The Night Manager. I don't know whether I mentioned it in the last show. But
that's with Tom Hiddleston, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been watching the second series of that. So
Excellent.
The first series was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The second series, I felt as though at the very beginning, it wasn't as good as the original, which is often the case, isn't it? When and for context here, AJ is ripping through a bar of chocolate. It's a skinny bar as well. It's one of me skinny protein bars.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey!
I need the protein too.
I haven't even tasted it.
I'm a growing bar.
What was I saying? Yeah, so until you get to around about the 4th episode, which I think is up to speed now, and it's starting to make sense a little bit, and it's gathering sort of pace and intensity, and I'm enjoying it. But I do have to say, as an avid sub fan, apart from Hollyoaks and Emmerdale, always an avid watcher of Coronation Street and Emmerdale. Coronation Street has been going down the pan. Emmerdale now has gone absolutely, completely ridiculous.
Because your man's returned, hasn't he?
Yeah, because this ex-SAS man has managed to somehow pretend that he's died in front of people that have witnessed it. He's managed to buy somebody through the police force to take his pulse and declare him dead, and he's been resurrected.
That's really weird.
Well, soap has just lost all its credibility now. But what I will say is, and I know there's probably highly unlikely that there's any scriptwriters out there listening to this, but I would have to say that the scriptwriters, but certainly the producers of the show, they need to come to Frank Hughes to resurrect Emmerdale, because Emmerdale was a level above Coronation Street, but the two now have gone down the pan completely. Totally unbelievable storylines.
Yes.
This thing with the young kid, and I know it does happen where they groom kids through supplying them with drugs, getting them addicted to drugs, which is not particularly the case in this particular circumstances, but they get them addicted, then they have to pay the debts off. And the only way to get them to pay the debts off is by getting them to run for them. And I know that
county lines.
Yeah, I know that does happen in real life. But they've just gone.
They dramatised it way too much.
It's outrageous. They've got people that were living just 5 miles away that were holed up in this house working on their farm, and nobody ever witnessed it yet. One of the partners in Emmerdale to this other business, she was there backwards and forwards. And nobody ever spotted Bear, who's one of the main characters in there. That's Paddy's dad had gone missing. Mm. And basically they put him up and they locked him into this room of a night time, let him out during the day so he could work, and told him that he was paying a debt off because he was getting free board and lodging and food and what have you. But yeah, totally unbelievable. So I've got to that stage now where I might stop watching these soaps.
Oh, what on earth are you going to watch in the meantime?
Well, I'm going to carry on watching things like I've been watching them. But I've also been revisiting, believe it or not, and I know it's terrible humour. You couldn't get away with it in this day and age, but I think I mentioned it last week.
Yeah,
the In-Betweeners.
Yeah, you did.
It's just total escapism, and I'm really loving it because it just makes me laugh. It's just, and to be honest with you, it makes you cringe laugh.
Yes,
if you understand what I mean. Because
yes, it does.
But it is the kind of thing that young lads get up to. And they still get up to these days. It's the kind of language and humour that they still use privately. So I'm enjoying that. But listen, I have to enjoy watching comedy, because if you watch serious stuff all the time, you may as well. You may as well give up on life altogether. So yeah, you've got to have a bit of humour in your life. And I'm revisiting all my old comedies. I like watching Dad's Army.
Oh, that's proper old school comedy, that one, isn't it?
I love watching Dad's Army.
Don't give him your name, Pike.
Porridge, programmes like that.
Oh, yeah.
And even I caught an episode, and I don't know whether it was on YouTube, but Brush Strokes. Don't know whether you ever remember that.
No, that was really early though, wasn't it?
Yeah, some really, really good comedies back in the past. You won't remember it, but there used to be a series called Selwyn Froggatt with Bill Maynard in, who used to be Greengrass in Heartbeat.
That name rings a bell, Bill Maynard.
Georgia Mildred. I love Georgia Mildred.
I mean, you
Man About the House?
No. Absolutely no idea. I think you're showing the generational age here, because I ain't got a clue.
Yeah, Georgia Mildred is about a henpecked husband.
Okay.
So Youth of Joyce is Mildred, and he's very henpecked.
That sounds very much like Keeping Up Appearances.
Yeah, very much like me, to be fair. I'm very henpecked, as you well know.
Franklin. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, because I feel like neither of us will make it out alive if we do.
Yeah, well, listen, on that point, I think we better get on with the show.
Fine. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer, AJ Vigette. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the North West, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the North West counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league, and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. This is episode 26 in season 2, and a very warm welcome to my co-host AJ.
Hello Frank. Hello everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another episode of this podcast that just keeps going and growing and groaning. On today's
Groaning, did you say?
Yes. Now, on today's show, we are going to look at some change over at Litherland Remica. We're going to look at the North West Counties title charge that's shaping up to be a bit of a contest between at least 3 teams, if not a few more. We'll look at the goings-on in the FA Vars, and we'll also look at the Northern Premier League as well, visiting teams like Lower Breck, Clitheroe, Stafford Rangers, and then Marine and Southport. Controversial Corner is filled with topics this week, including some shenanigans and elbows over at Trearddur, and also some extra rules coming in at Chasetown FC. We've got no guest today, so we're just going to thunder on into one show. We're going to discuss Skelmersdale United, some change in the Liverpool County Premier League, as well as giving you our predictions and expert analysis on the show. All that is to come. But first, Franklin, where are we going?
Well, first of all, I think you should hand you the league tables, because I don't think you've got a set of league tables
No.
there, have you? Well, there you go. You have.
I do now.
Yeah, we'll start at the beginning, the North West Counties Roundup, like you say. Listen, just before we do go on to that, we will have a guest on next week. I think we raised the subject about speaking to people that are chairmen that are involved, or chairpersons that are involved with football clubs with no resources, or very little in terms of resources.
Personal wealth, yeah.
So with that in mind, we're bringing Trevor Abraham on the show next week, who's the co-chairman of Colne Football Club.
Cool. So very insightful guest, we hope.
Yeah, because we're looking at a club that's had its issues over the decades. Obviously, it's a new sort of branded football club that went out of business several years ago, and then is resurfaced as in another name, but basically in the same area, I should say. Yeah, that'll be an interesting conversation to have next week.
Yes, it will.
North West Counties Roundup. Litherland Remy, they sacked manager Jamie Rainford, who was on the show a few weeks ago, as you know, following Wednesday night's 3-1 defeat at home to Exton Villa. Steve Scott, I don't know a great deal about him, but he was announced as his replacement on Sunday. Scott has previously managed at FC Bootle and Asheville. It's going to be a tough gig for Steve, given the financial constraints, without appearing to kick the club when it's down. I imagine it isn't easy to attract people to Litherland Sports Park as it is to boost the club's coffers, because I've never been a particular fan of pitches with running tracks around them. So tough gig for the new.
Yeah, a very, very difficult gig for the new manager. I don't know if he's being. I feel like he's being brought in to look ahead to next season. There's 17 games left of the season for Remy, but you get the sense that they are almost down and out already. and I know that sounds very, very despondent to say, but they've accrued 7 points from 29 games. They are 9 points behind City of Liverpool, who are second bottom, and 11 points behind Abbey Hay in third bottom, having played a game more than the Greater Manchester side. So they're already on the back foot anyway. And I think what Steve Scott is doing, he's just going to have to do damage limitation as much as he can for this season. I don't think there's any expectations that he's going to conjure up a bit of a great escape. I think he just needs to, try and retain as much of the squad as what he can, and then see what he can bring in for next season, where it seems almost inevitable that they will be in the North West Counties Division 1 North. It's a rough gig, and if you look at
look at the appointments in the first place. It's not that long ago since they brought Jamie Rainford into the football club.
True.
At that stage, you can understand why they're replacing the manager.
Yes,
because you want to build for next season.
Yes.
I think with a lot of us, we're a little bit more too concerned about what we can save rather than what we can, immediately try to save our standing in the Premier Division. I think we did that. As well, we're guilty of doing the same thing. But when you pull the plug and then pull the plug again so quickly, it sounds very much like you've realised you've made a mistake before.
Does that make them a bit more trigger happy at Remy? Do you think?
It's very, very difficult to attract. Difficult to attract a manager. It's difficult in the sense it depends on what your resources are. Mm-hmm. You'll always get a lot of people that will apply for a vacant manager's job, particularly in that Premier Division, because it's such a competitive Premier Division, and it's a good springboard for a manager to either regain his reputation or to start from scratch again.
Build from scratch, yeah.
But it's so very, very difficult when those resources aren't there. And I would assume that a lot of managers that they've interviewed for that job, when they've realised they've got very little to work with, that group of probably what looked like promising candidates has been really whittled down to what the best of the rest. And I'm not saying for 1 minute that Steve Scott is another example of somebody that they're bringing into the football club as a last resort rather than looking at. They do have to look at next season and rebuilding. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I thought they could have done that with Jamie Rainford. That's the point I'm making. At which point do you pull the trigger, and when do you stop pulling the trigger?
I think you can really only afford to make one managerial change over the course of a season. Any more than that one, and you're asking an awful lot of anybody to come in and try and reinvigorate a squad that's, and in Remy's case, already kind of down and out. Morale's at an all-time low. There's not much in the piggy bank. They look almost set for relegation. I think they probably could have done with just keeping Jamie Rainford there. Because
Jamie's appointment was never going to have immediate success, was it?
No, of course it wasn't. No. And I don't understand.
You have to realise that surely as a chairman or a board of directors of a football club, you have to recognise that is not going to. You've already made the change. 2/3 of the way through the season, as it was probably then, or they're probably just over the halfway mark. To be fair, when they made the change. Was it around about the halfway mark?
No, it was earlier than that. I think we're probably about a third of the way through the season. I think they brought Rainford in. I think he's probably gone. I think he probably had about 12 games, something like that, 13, something along them lines. So that's just over a third of the way through the season.
So what, they got about 17 games left. So the new manager's got 17 games. He's got 7 points. He's got to bridge that gap, which is currently 9 points.
Well, that's just to get them off the bottom of the table. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to survive relegation, because two teams were relegated.
Well, I was going to say that's 3 wins. 3 wins on the trot, and then hoping that the team above you, or the couple of teams above you, don't win a game and then bounce on from there. But unless you've got money, unless you can throw money at this, I don't think it's going to work, is it?
Well, no, this is the difficulty about being where they are in that greater Liverpool area, surrounded by Maghull, Burscough, ourselves, Bootle, Prescott Cables. There's just so many teams in that Merseyside area, and I think Litherland are forever battling for loyalties that are just so spread out across Merseyside. And as you say, with them playing on a running track field, we know that running tracks were a big thing in the 60s, 50s, 70s, places like that. But they're being eradicated now. I think it was Juventus and Bayern Munich were the last ones to kind of get rid of them, from the top level, because people want a bit more of a closer action.
You've got to feel sorry for Jamie, though, haven't you? He's obviously not given the tools to work with. He's a new manager, completely new manager, new start for him.
Yeah.
You'd like to think you're going to give a manager a decent enough time. Listen, I can't criticise. We got rid of Matt Potter mid-October.
But we put our faith in. Well, I say we. It was you. Put your faith in Pascal Chimbonda. But he lasted the remainder of the season. Yeah. You didn't get rid of him, even though you knew that relegation was, relatively certain. There's no point in that, and I don't think there's any point in getting rid of Jamie Rainford.
I know there's no such thing as longevity in football. So when you bring, you try to what you do is when you bring a core group of people to the football club, you think to yourself, I'm going to get at least 2, 3, 4 years, possibly 5. The best balance is 3 to 5 years. That's what you want. You want somebody to, if they're going to be part of the big plan, you need them there for 3 to 5 years.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I mean, we've gone through that stage as an industry of football of going gung ho on managers after 18 months, 2 years. Chelsea kind of led the way in that one, and I think it's the same story down at semi-professional level. People want immediate change and immediate action, and it just isn't. It isn't there. It's not going to happen.
But there are mitigating circumstances. You realise pretty soon whether it's working.
Yeah.
You make the decisions to change managers. We all do it because we think there's something better around the corner.
Yeah, but
it doesn't always work. It's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
It's a game of Russian roulette football.
Sure, but at the same time, do you really want to do that twice in one season? Bring yourself across as being a real trigger-happy manager who only really wants the immediate success straight away and isn't prepared to work with a manager.
Well, we look at Manchester United as an example. They have Alex Ferguson for 25 years, was it?
On the rest, like that.
Yeah. And then how many managers have they had in the interim since then? 6. Yeah.
And a few interims as well.
Yeah. And I listened to, not listened to all of it, but excerpts of John Barnes on the overlap, and he's basically turned around and said that Liverpool tried to carry on doing things the Shankly way for far too long, and it worked. It worked under Paisley. It worked under Fagan. It worked under who's the other fellas?
Dalglish.
Dalglish and Roy Evans. It worked, but then they carried on trying to do it that way, and then that was the reason why they didn't get anywhere for the next
20 years.
20 years. And I think Manchester United have got to that point now where they've got to change their ethos. And a lot of people have questioned that and said you've got to... the appointment of... who was the fella that they just sacked?
Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim was the wrong fit because he tried to play an un-Manchester United way.
Yeah.
I think Barnes is probably the first one that's come out and said, well, no, you've got to change the way Manchester United operates, full stop.
But we've tried to do that. If you think about the managers that we've had, we had David Moyes, who was the chosen one with his, very defensive solidity and, physical teams. We then moved on to Van Gaal with his pass kind of thing. And then Mourinho, who parked the bus. Ole Solskjaer was meant to be the cultural reboot and bringing back what meant to be a Manchester United player, in which it was, surrendering possession to about 30% and then hitting teams on the counter-attack. And that worked for a time, but he had no plan B. And then we went through Eric Ten Hag, who was the master tactician with his gegenpress. And then Ruben Amorim with his 3-4-3. And now we're at the stage where Michael Carrick's been brought back in to reboot us culturally again. So what the hell do we do if if we're transferring away from the ethos 5 times and it still isn't working.
I think it's more structural, isn't it, than that? To be fair, and I think what you do get, you get more of an opportunity in non-league football is a complete change, don't you? So you when you lose one, you normally lose the lot, and you start from scratch. You start from scratch again, and I think maybe there's too many hangers on at Manchester United that need paying off.
That might be the case. We've got rid of a fair few over the last couple of transfer windows, and Casemiro's just announced that he's leaving at the end of the season as well, so there's another one gone. I think under Carrick, and I watched the highlights against City, and it was the first time in years that we looked like a proper Man United team. I'm hopeful there's something in that.
But there's been signs of it under Amorim as well, haven't they? I mean, Gary Neville said as much, and they managed to impress using his system as well. So there were signs that it could work, but there seems to be too much interference. And
maybe
there's too much interference by chairman.
Was there too much interference at Remy? Do you think?
I don't know. I think it's just. I think it's desperate situations, isn't it? You're trying to. You're hanging on to that dream of staying in the Premier Division, and knowing how difficult it'll be when you go down. Because when you go down, invariably you lose the team.
Oh God, yeah. And I mean, Remy have already lost a few players to Pastors New anyway, and I think that'll probably be the case when they go down. I mean, we can admit that ourselves. We lost near enough the entire team from last season to this season. I think we've only got 2 or 3, maybe 4 that are kicking around from last season. So maybe the rebuild will do them good, but that's going to be on Steve Scott and not Jamie Rainford.
Yeah, well, listen, best of luck to Steve and his new ventures there. Remy, best of luck. Hope it works out for him.
Yes.
Wythenshawe, so they've opened up a 5-point gap at the top of the table, following a 6-2 win over their closest rivals, Padiham.
Yeah.
And they also have a game in hand. I think they've won now 12 consecutive league games. There are still over 20 games to be played and a great deal of work to be done, but this has got to be a big statement win, albeit 1-1 at half time. There was an avalanche of goals in the second half. Did we see that? We felt as though Wythenshawe would win that game, but the margin of the victory is very impressive.
I didn't see the margin of victory coming. No, not at all. Padiham, good strong team. We've said this for ages how good Padiham are. Just in general, never mind at home, but on the road as well. And as you say, it was 1-1 at half time, but a full-on blitz of 4 goals in 15 minutes kind of left the Storks a bit shell-shocked, really, as Wythenshawe ran riot. And then Aaron Dwyer's scoring the 6th to kind of cap off a really impressive second half for Withy there. As you say, they've got a 5-point gap over Padiham and a game in hand as well. So, things are looking really optimistic for Wythenshawe at the top of the table. I don't think it'll nearly be as tight as it was last year between Bury and Brack, but I don't think any of the
I don't think there'll be a runaway. I think it'll be more convincing, but I don't think there'll be an absolute runaway.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right there. The teams around them, I think they're just having slips where Wythenshawe probably had this at the start of the season and it was a lot shorter than this kind of period that these are all going through.
Padihams is a little bit more inconsistent, as it is Ramsbottom, but we'll talk about them in a minute. Listen, Burscough's good run of form continued this week. First with a 0-0 draw at Cheadle at the weekend, and then a resounding 3-1 victory over Charnock on Tuesday night. Now, I know Dave Dempsey was a little disappointed with the draw, but I'm more annoyed that their form on grass hasn't been as good as he hoped for. Cheadle's pitch is a tough one to play on, so he's probably been a bit tough on himself, to be fair, I think. But they've lost their on-loan keeper, Goody, who's been recalled by Everton. He's made a significant contribution to the club since his arrival, with I think around 11 clean sheets, if I'm right. And listen, there's no doubt about it. They've said it themselves. He'd be sorely missed. That said, they've managed to secure the services of Felix Chester from Burnley, another Premier League club, who, by all accounts, adjusted really, really well in the recent performance against Charnock, albeit he didn't keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
I think all in all, on reflection, when you look back at it, the draw doesn't look as bad after the midweek win.
No, not at all. It's Burscough collecting 3 points. And I think Dempsey will be pleased with that one, regardless, because it still keeps up that momentum that they're going. So they're now in 5th, going into the weekend. They are 3 points behind Rami in 3rd. So they occupy the last playoff berth, albeit they have played more games than anybody around them, with the exception of FC St Helens. So they still got Earlham below them, who are 3 points behind, but with 2 games in hand on them. Their defence is starting to look really solid. I know they didn't keep a clean sheet, but by all accounts, their defence, I think it's the 3rd best in the league by this point. So I think Dempsey will be reasonably pleased with that. As you say, they beat Charnock Richard 3-1. Christian Makoko grabbing 2 of those goals on a cold Tuesday night down at the community ground. A good crowd came out as well at L40 to watch that. 149.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Dave earlier on, and he mentioned the fact that they'd got a decent game for it. Considering that Charnock wouldn't brought a great deal of followers with them, there must have been at least 100 diehard Burscough supporters. Plus, they're getting a crowd now, a sort of little junior crowd of about 15 schoolmates there that are making a noise. And absolutely loving Christian Makoko as well.
As long as they're well behaved, that's absolutely fine.
By all accounts, they are. So
yeah. That's excellent. So I think a large portion of why their gates are being better recently is that they are offering footy for a $5. So that's going to be...
They've just introduced this for this Saturday, which is a good idea.
Right. So a good reason why their gates will be better going forward is footy for a $5, where they host Prestwich Heys. Really decent initiative as they try and get more people through the turnstiles, which an initiative that has long been at the top of Chairman Jay Hawkes' priorities. The level of football that they've been producing is excellent. They're in with a shout of promotion now. It's right that they should be attracting better gates.
Yeah, and it's been a big build. It's not been an overnight success.
No.
It's taken a lot of hard work by Dempsey, and the club's definitely going in the right direction. They're reaching out to the local community on a regular basis. Like you say, Jay's doing a terrific job there as the chairman. This is just another good initiative to get people in, and long may the success continue, because it's a decent place to go to. Got a really good clubhouse. It's in a nice area.
Yeah, it is.
And Burscough, the population is increasing there as well. There's a lot of housing estates that have been built in recent years.
Yep.
And they've got to tap into them as well, of course. And they seem to be doing exactly that. So best of luck to Burscough. We'll talk about them at the end of the game when we look at the predictions for the weekend. So looking at Ramsbottom quickly, they've sort of become draw specialists in recent weeks, which isn't really helping their sort of title charge at all. They managed to get a 2-1 win over Glossop at the weekend.
They did.
Only to return to drawing ways against Earlham. Tough game anyway.
Well, that's Earlham, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah. To be fair to them, they've had to contend with a hell of a lot of postponements as well. 6, is it?
6 postponements since mid-December.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's really going to kind of throw their momentum, regardless of what Steve Wilkes tries to conjure.
I don't know, but a lot of them haven't just been home games, but considering where they are just alongside the river there, being the Riverside Stadium, of course, maybe some time some distance down the road, they'll probably look at putting a plastic pitch in there if they can afford to do it.
They'll have to sort of see where all the cash is at, because obviously it's a cashless, not a cashless one, cash only venue.
Yeah, it's a cash only venue.
Harry Williams will need to check his mattress and all his money safes and piggy banks.
Listen, he doesn't sleep on a mattress. He lives in a cave.
There it is. There it is. He's only just discovered fire, we've heard. But
anyway, listen, moving on to the City of Liverpool.
Oh, the City of Liverpool.
Yeah, so listen, they managed to get off to a restart in their campaign for survival at the weekend, but they were battered 8-0 by Charnock Richard.
Yep.
Sort of gives you an idea of the gulf now between sort of City of Liverpool and Burscough, because Burscough obviously beat Charnock Richard themselves. So on Tuesday night they made 3 changes to the starting lineup and played a really in-form FC St Helens. But they conceded a goal in the 95th minute. Some media outlets say it was the 97th minute. But they managed to lose 1-0, unfortunately. All hell broke loose at the end of the game. Richard Brodie attempted to shake the hand of the assistant manager, only for him to pull away. A 30-man brawl erupted, and Brodie was given a red card. Now, I'm saying it. You sometimes wonder if referees target Brodie. Yes, he's passionate. We all know that, but it still makes you wonder. And as Brodie said, listen, 30-man brawl. 30 men get sent off, not just one.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? I feel like in a brawl, if one gets involved and they all get involved, they all should receive some semblance of punishment, really, regardless of whether you're in there acting as peacekeeper.
It's a name on the referee's CV, isn't it? Oh, I sent Richard Brodie off. I do. Listen, I've seen it loads of times before. It's like one-upmanship. And I don't want to end up with another charge, so probably the least to say about that, the better. But listen, there will be another side to the story. But
I think it's a bit more than somebody refusing to shake his hand. I think
that's what Richard sold me. So on that basis, I do feel as though he's targeted at times. But listen, he is a passionate man, and sometimes you've got to find a way of managing that passion rather than sending him off all the time, because he got sent off. He was targeted when he played for us on that game against, who did we play on that?
Grenadier.
The Grenadier. He was targeted. Absolutely no doubt about it. He was targeted that day, and he ended up getting sent off then.
Yes, he did.
Listen, there's an improvement there, and hopefully, hopefully they can start picking points up over the next few games.
Oh yeah, to lose just 1-0 to FC St Helens. That's I know that it's a defeat. And Brodie does not really like accepting defeats anyway. But I think he'll find some comfort in that one, knowing that his team pushed a very informed FC St Helens right to the edge of their tether, and probably could be considered very unfortunate to be on the losing end of the result that day. Yeah.
Listen, Abbey Hay, they couldn't create a bigger gap between them and the bottom two because they went down 3-1 to Earlham. No disgrace there. A tough game for them. With Earlham being in 6th place. But yeah, the sort of gap then is there's another how many points is it? 9 points between 9 points between Abbey Hay and FC Isle of Man, and Pilk's a bit further up with 29 points. So I don't see anybody getting above out of that bottom 3 getting above 21st position, do you?
Not really. No,
but there is a long way to go.
There is still a long way to go in the season, and oddly enough, Abbey Hay actually got on level terms with Earlham very briefly. It lasted all of 4 minutes, but it was done about 20 minutes from time. But 2 from John Johnston and then 1 from John Main saw the points go to the Salford side in what was a bit of a East Manchester meets West Manchester kind of derby, and it's the team from the West that triumphed there. But it's another win for Earlham as their little train keeps rumbling on there. They negotiated a difficult point over Ramsbottom United, and still look to kind of edge over Burscough and West Didsbury and Chiltern firmly in their sights there.
You certainly wouldn't count them out of the playoffs.
Absolutely not.
No. So listen, we'll move on to Division 1 North, and we'll sort of integrate that with the FA Vars as well. So Nelson reached the summit of the league following a 2-1 win over Garstang on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. A great hangover cure following their 1-0 defeat in the FA Vars at the weekend to West Didsbury and Chiltern.
No shame.
Crowd of over 1,000, like you said, that a division above as well, so no disgrace disgrace there. And you've listened to a good game. They gave them a good game by all accounts. But Nelson have got a lot of games to catch up on, even though they're above there. I think they've got like 7 games. 7 games.
They've got 6 games in hand on Thornton Cleveland.
Is that it? Yeah.
5 on Ashton, 4 on Droylsden, 6 on MSB Walton. So yeah. Around about 5 or 6 games in hand.
Yeah, so getting knocked out of the FA Vars, they wouldn't have wanted it, but it's probably going to do them favours moving forward.
Yes, I think so.
Otherwise, if they have any more postponements, any more cup involvement, then they're going to be playing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays before
they're going to be playing 3 weeks just to try and make the end of the season. I know that we talked an awful lot about how much pressure the leagues put on teams during the early parts of the season to fulfil fixtures, but I think they went too far the opposite way this time around, and now we're at a station where teams are going to be scrambling towards the end of the season just to make sure that all their games are fulfilled. And I think Nelson are probably the prime examples of that, having only played 15 games this season, where every other team around them has played at least 17 and at most 21.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, Droylsden, they managed to progress to the next round of the FA Vars, so that means there'll be representation from Division 1 North. They managed to beat Sherwood Colliery 2-1 at home, but could only muster a 0-0 draw against Ashton Town on Tuesday night, so they've their opportunity to reduce the the points tally at the top was they didn't manage to do it, but so they've got Bilston Town in the 5th round, I think it is.
Sure.
And looking at Bilston Town, don't know a great deal about them, but they've reached the quarterfinals back in 1992-93 season.
Might still have some players kicking around from that, Dave. The squad, give them a bit of experience.
Yeah, still, listen, I'd like to think that Droylsden would be the slight favourites going into that game.
That's possible, yeah.
Following 3 postponements, Ashton Athletic managed to get a game in but lost 3-1 to Steeton, which meant they're still at the bottom with Garstang, who suffered back-to-back defeats just a point above them. Main Road's 2-1 win over AFC Blackpool meant they swapped places with Garstang and now breathing down Cone's neck, although they managed a 1-1 draw away from home to Thornton Cleveland, who've got off the boil a bit of late. So yeah, that was a good point for Cone at Thornton.
Yeah, I think so.
At home to Thornton.
Thornton's it was away at Thornton. Thornton's a pretty horrible place to go, just because they're so well supported. Thornton Cleveland have a really impressive home record anyway, so for Cone to go over there, and this was the Thornton Clevelands who are vying for top spot at the top of the table, that's an excellent result for them, really.
What is it with us? We start singing the praises of teams and then they go off the boil?
Well, yeah, but it makes for excellent entertainment in the First Division North, because any team could be at the top of the table. It changes each week. It was Thornton Cleveland's last week. It was Droylsden the week before, Ashton the week before that. I think MSB Walton might have been up there at one point or another. As for Ashton Athletic go, they are back down at the bottom of the league as the bottom 4 now seek to interchange with each other. So Ashton Athletic are at the bottom, followed by Garstang second bottom, which is where they finished last year. Main Road, who have got sucked into a bit of a relegation dogfight. And then Cone. So there's just 4 points separating bottom from 4th from bottom. And all the teams involved there in for a bit of a scrap to avoid that bottom spot. I don't think any of the teams will get relegated this season because they've all managed to surpass our points tally from last season. And so I think they will still retain their place, but there's some worrying times there for Ashton Athletic.
Yeah, because we don't know how many are going to go down at this point, do we?
We have no idea at the minute. Obviously, last season it was 1. This season it might be 0. It could be 2. We just don't know at this point. Really, we don't know how it's going to get laid out in terms of points per game or averages. We have had your non-league maps give us a bit of an indication. On one of his latest spreadsheets, but it doesn't indicate that Ashton Athletic are in danger of being relegated at this point.
But it'd be interesting to see if the likes of Flixton and Widnes
Town,
their application to join the North West Counties is successful, because I don't know what divisions you'd put them in. They'd probably be in that Division 1 North, wouldn't they?
Flixton almost certainly. Widnes may be in the south, because we do have a few teams from the Merseyside area kicking around in the south, so it could split either way, and particularly in the south, which we'll go to in a minute, with Wolverhampton Sporting Community's perilous position within the league, it could happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So listen, let's wrap up the FA Vars. Chatterton bowed out as they were beaten 2-0 at home by North Shields, a good outfit.
Always going to be a difficult game, yeah.
South Liverpool were also knocked out by Winsford Town by 5-2.
Is it Winsford United?
Yeah, Winsford Town, is it?
Winsford Town?
Yeah, are they called Town or United?
As in the Winsford that went up last season.
Yeah.
That's Winsford United.
Is it? Okay,
yeah.
Listen. Forgive me for my ignorance.
Silly billiness.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, it doesn't really matter. West Didsbury will host the winners, Winsford, in the next round.
That's going to be a brilliant game, that. So, Division 1... North West Counties Premier meets Midland Premier, two teams who are heavyweights in their division, really. Winsford United in their first season in the Midland Prem, already in 9th position in the table. West Didsbury obviously have a bit more muscle, if you like, within their respective league, sitting in 4th or 5th? 4th, okay. And, having beaten Nelson just prior to this. So that'll be a heck of a game to go and see. It really will. Yeah,
good luck to them. The two surviving teams in the North West Counties that will be in the 5th round. Do we know when the 5th round is? Is it next week?
Absolutely no idea.
No?
Not a clue.
Just looking through the fixtures. No, it won't be next week then. Or will it be?
I don't think so.
No, it's not.
Okay, that's fine.
So it'll be the week after.
Cool.
We would imagine so anyway. Listen, we move on to Division 1 South.
Yes, we do.
Runcorn Town followed up their previous 6-0 win over Shawbury United with an even more impressive 7-0 win over Dan Dawson's Market Drayton Town. They've now increased their lead at the top to 14 points. As Eccleshaw lost 2-1 to Stafford Town, Stafford remain in 5th place and look good for the playoffs.
They certainly do, yeah. Runcorn, although having played a game more than Telford Town, who are in 2nd, have got a very healthy lead over them, having lost just 1 game all season and drawn 3. By far and away the best goal scorers and defenders within that. I mean, I think it's just inevitable that they're going to go up this season. It's an amazing squad that's been assembled. We knew that this might be the case when they were pulled from the bottom of the table by the co-management team last season. Liam Page and...
Well, I was just going to say that it's the sort of Moore and Page partnership, sort of getting a reputation a little bit like the Johnson and Morleys of
yeah, absolutely. The co-management thing seems to work. But yeah, Runcorn, so far away from Telford Town, you don't really see them dropping points in much the same way that Winsford United kind of won the league at a canter last season. But it'll be really interesting to see where the teams fall in terms of the playoff position. So at the minute, your home advantages are for Telford and Eccleshaw. Eccleshaw lost to Stafford Town by 2-1 at the weekend. Telford Town weren't in action on that weekend.
And correction to what I said before, Stafford moved up into 4th place, didn't they? So.
Yes, they did. I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
That's okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Stockport Georgians are now in the playoff positions as well, with a 3-point lead over 6th placed Sandbach United. But yeah, there's still a lot to play for there. But listen, we don't really sort of give them enough credit, but Runcorn Town have only lost 1 game all season.
Yes,
That's an incredible record. And they've scored 70 goals as well.
Yeah, in 22 games. So what is that? There's about 3.5 goals a game.
They're hard to beat. 18 goals conceded.
Yeah, they are. I say if you're hard to score against, you're hard to defeat. And I know that sounds so Michael Owen-esque, but it really does make all the difference. All the teams that we've seen go up this season or make secure, polished seasons of themselves have all been teams that have been really hard to score against. So at the minute, Runcorner appear to be running away with the title, and it's Telford, Eccleshall, Stafford and Stockport in the playoff positions, with Sandbach and Barnton still not out of the equation right now.
So positionally, no change at the bottom as all three teams remain in the same position. Wolves Sporting Community and Horman, they're both lost, but Shawbury, under new manager Matty Boswell, they beat New Mills 2-0, and in doing so, they've improved their odds of avoiding the drop.
Very much so, yes. So Shawbury's victory over New Mills brought them up to 17 points this season, just a point behind Alsager Town, who are currently in 16th place out of the 19 teams in Division 1 South. Wolverhampton Sporting Community, they weren't in action at the weekend. In fact, I don't think they've been in... yes, they were. So Wolverhampton Sporting Community were beaten on Wednesday night 5-0 away at Cheadle Heath. Nomads, Caelan Wilkinson and Daniel Lewis both grabbing a double there for the South Manchester based side, and that result leaves Wolverhampton Sporting Community adrift at the bottom, having accrued just 5 points all season, 7 points behind Hormond, who are second bottom. Hormond, who lost 3-2 away at Asheville, but a result which kind of leaves both teams scrambling to maintain their Northwest Counties status. I think for Wolverhampton Sporting Community, in much the same way as it was for us last season and for Liverpool and Remica this season, the writing is on the wall positionally. It's going to be whether their points per game is acceptable enough that they manage a reprieve. Judging by the look of it, I don't think it is.
Not a great deal of chance there. But listen, that rounds up the Northwest Counties Premier, North Division and South Division. We'll just briefly gloss over the the Northern Premier League West. Lower Breck are now 5 points ahead at the top of the... What's up?
Are we doing this or are we doing it at the end?
Oh yeah, we didn't do that, did we?
No.
Well, we'll come to that in a minute.
Fine.
That'll start the controversial corner off.
No, God.
So listen, lower record now 5 points ahead at the top of the Northwest Counties. I'm saying it again. Northern Premier League West, as they beat Avro 3-1.
Aggro.
At the weekend, yeah, Aggro, who are just below them. Bury are in third place. They dropped points in a 2-2 draw at Darlaston Town.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, you know what? I'll just briefly mention. I'll throw it in there now. That sort of gives you the impression that the sort of interim manager now, the amount of pressure they'll be under, because they wouldn't have been expecting to draw to the likes of Darlaston. They're the games that they've got to win.
This is absolutely true, and it did actually.
Where are Darlaston, by the way, in the league?
Darlaston are 18th out of 22 teams.
I thought they were pretty low in the pecking order.
They are, but they are now 3 games unbeaten, including 2 wins, as well as that draw. So that's 7 points they've accrued. So they've gone from second bottom to fifth bottom in a matter of 3 weeks. You're getting ahead of teams like Wythenshawe Town, Stafford, Newcastle Town as well. Level on points with Congleton and 2 points behind Sporting Colsa in 16th. So they are now putting together a bit of a run. That game was tinged with a bit of controversy as well, as there was a bit of a coming together between the teams, members of their playing squad and management squad as well. I don't think anyone has been pulled for it in terms of punishment, but it was just another ugly scene to be involved with, unfortunately.
Was this video, was it?
There were some video aspects of it, yeah, and I think there was a member of Darlaston's coaching staff who looked to be saying some pretty
Oh
unsavoury
yeah,
things.
I did see something. I think. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
There you go. So
Oh,
don't
yes.
do that.
I know, yeah.
Anyway.
So listen, Runcorn Linnets and Stalybridge, they picked up valuable wins in their efforts to stay in the playoff positions. Bootle, they're enjoying a bit of a revival as well. They're now in 8th place, unbeaten in 4 games.
Yes, they are.
Clitheroe are still way off the pace with just 33 points, but they managed to win in their last outing as well.
Yeah, they did. So we like talking about Clitheroe on this show, and we feared that they were going to be getting a bit of a FA Trophy hangover after having lost to Scunthorpe United last Tuesday by 3-1. But they put that behind them with a resounding 4-0 victory over Wythenshawe Town at the Loomloft Stadium on Saturday. It was a bit of a classy performance as well, one in which Jack Briggs scored a double, and Jack Morris. Josh Briggs scored a goal as well, and Ben Woods rounding off that victory with a last-minute goal to kind of put the cherry on the icing on top of the cake. 738 fans turned out in Clitheroe to see that game as well. Another really good turnout for this team.
But it's picking up again, isn't it? Because I think the Gates are averaging around about 900.
So the highest is average. The highest this season was 909. Their average is just over 650.
I think last season their averages were higher, weren't they? That's what
I think they were, yeah.
Hinting at there.
Yeah, a little bit. But nonetheless, it does spark a bit of a Clitheroe revival. Now, bearing in mind as well, they've got games in hand on all of the teams around them. In fact, I think they've played the least games of anybody within the league, having played 24. I think it's a bit worrisome that they've won 9, drawn 6 and lost 9 and have a goal difference of 0. But they're level on points with Whitton Albion and 4 points behind Atherton Collieries in 11th and then a further 5 points behind Nantwich Town in 10th. So win a couple of those games, they're looking at a top 10 finish. And I think given where they were last season, this is probably the kind of season that Sean McConville would call a modest success. You know, a decent run within the FA Trophy, beating York City, and a upper mid-table finish within the Northern Premier League. I think he'll be okay with that. Considering their financial struggles last season, I think this is good for them.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes, I think so.
And listen, just going back to Lower Breck, a lot of people, when they suggest to ground hoppers where they should go and watch the football, they all suggest they go and watch Lower Breck because of the quality of the football, the standard of football.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think we had any doubt that Lower Breck's quality of football was something to be admired. I think it says something when you keep pace with the runaway Berry train right to the last game of the season, and even then, I think it's by a point or two that they managed to hold off Breck to secure their place in the Northern Premier League. One thing you're not going to go to Lower Breck to is the quality of the stadium. We've been there ourselves. We don't think it's quite befitting a team who are playing such outstanding football and who may very well end up in the Northern Premier League proper next season. So, Gary Moore, you got to address that one, mate.
Yeah. Listen, moving on to Stafford Rangers, they haven't won a game in an absolute long time, so they'll be desperate to see some of that investment from their new American major shareholder coming soon. I think we mentioned it briefly on the show last week.
Yes.
They need some kind of assistance there in terms of finances.
Oh, they really do. So Stafford Rangers sitting third from bottom are in the table, level on points with Wythenshawe Town, but with a healthier goal difference, and then Trafford propping up the table at the bottom. But yeah, in terms of Wythenshawe Town's, in terms of Stafford Rangers' actual season, it's been deeply disappointing. So they lost 1-0 against Bootle at the weekend. They lost 6-1 to Nantwich on New Year's Day. They lost to Chase Town on Boxing Day as well. So it's a really poor run from Stafford Rangers at the minute. And I think it's. I think this new American majority shareholder, whoever he is going to immediately be looking at the infrastructure, the playing squad, the management. I think everybody's going to be under the spotlight once he comes in.
So, what started out as a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. Am I allowed to say that in that area, Stafford? Oh, is that the right place? The home of Shakespeare? Or is it Stratford?
Stratford.
Is it? Okay, well...
You Philistine.
There you go.
Stafford is the home of Robbie Williams and Slash.
Oh, right, I thought he was from Stoke.
It's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah, anyway, listen. I got that one wrong. Anyway, let's go up to the Northern Premier Division briefly, because we highlighted the shenanigans at Prescott when they reduced the budget and a couple of players left. They're holding their own at the moment.
Who?
Prescott Cables.
Yeah, they are.
2 wins and a draw in the last 3 games.
Well, that's
so
decent enough.
It's not been a complete catastrophe for them.
No, I don't think it was ever going to be a complete catastrophe. Them, yes, they.
But they were in that lower sort of stage of the season.
Well, they still are. They still are. They are, like you say, they are on a mini revival. They're 3 unbeaten now, so they've taken 7 points, which has lifted them from sort of second bottom all the way up to 16th out of.
There's only 3 points between them and the second bottom team. It's still quite
but at the same time, they're on the best run of anybody down there. Yeah. Like I said, there's no other team apart from Workington at the bottom who are unbeaten in their last 3 games. Okay, and I know that's a small victory, but small victories at what pulls you away from relegation at this point. And they still have a game in hand on Leek above them, and they're right in the mix of that kind of lower, that sort of lower end of the table, but quite high up. So there's Cleethorpes Town, Guiseley, Whitby, and Ashton United, all within 5 points of them. Okay, and then you're looking at Ilkeston and Bamber Bridge, and then things start to get pretty heady for Cables there. They could end up anywhere between second bottom and about 8th at this point. I mean, that's the chaotic nature of football at the minute, but every team right now is looking a bit inconsistent. Teams are dropping points all over the place. Very few teams are actually on a really good run of form recently. So there's so much margin for error everywhere you go.
Yeah. And listen, if you're new to Shakespeare and you're a lover of Shakespeare, please don't go to Stafford.
Don't go to Stafford, because you'll not find anybody who
I don't even exact that. Listen, this show can do this sometimes to you, can. It's been a tough week, and for some reason I thought I was being really, really good with words then, and I've thrown myself right under the bus. But never mind that. Listen, we'll move on to the National League North and completely forget it. Listen, if I could have just gone through that and pretended it was the home of Shakespeare.
You could have also stopped the recording and decided to record yourself just to cover it.
And listen, I might still do that.
Do not do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that kind of reprieve.
What water though? Listen, we'll move on to National League North. Marine got back to winning ways with a 3-0 win over Radcliffe on Tuesday, following a heavy defeat at Buxton on Saturday. So that's good for them, because Radcliffe not an easy team to beat.
No, they're not. They're about 5th in the league at the minute, aren't they? So
I think they were there or thereabouts. Yeah,
exactly. So you can kind of commend Marine's qualities, and particularly the manner of their win as well. A 3-0 win over Radcliffe on Tuesday night. So that's an excellent result for them.
Most definitely, yeah. Moving on to Southport, they snatched a late win at Bedford on Saturday, but lost 1-0 to South Shields on Tuesday night. But South Shields are
top of the table
to beat. Yeah,
they are. They're top of the table. I won't say they're running away with it, but they are befitting their place at the top, having lost just 3 games out of 27 all season. Marine are in 10th, which is miles better than what they were last season, and realistically, they're 3 points away from the top 6. They could still do that. I think if they'd drawn a few more games, rather than having lost 10 of 25, I think we'd be seeing a team that are playoff material. I really do. I think give Bobby Grant one more season, and I think he could do serious bits here. Southport, their revival continues under Neil Dans, an extra 3 points, pulling them away from that dangerous haven of the bottom four.
Is it 4 that go down?
It is 4 that go down, yeah. So they are now 5 points clear of Hereford, who occupy that
so
top
it's really,
of the
really,
bottom.
really tight at the bottom. Apart
It is.
Leamington, who are on 14 points and 8 points adrift of the second from bottom team, Alfreton.
That's correct. Yeah. So another win on the road there for Southport against Bedford. Disappointment on Tuesday night when they went to South Shields, but they have the chance to turn all that around with a home game against Merthyr Town. That's a cup game, that one, isn't it? It's not. Sorry,
no, it's league. Yeah.
It is a league game. But
so Marina at home to South Shields at the weekend, and Southport at home to Merthyr Town. So they're very difficult games. Just
they are.
They'll be pleased that they've got the home advantage on that one. So South Shields, as you say, top of the division. Merthyr Town are in third place. So difficult games for both of them. But best of luck.
100%. Yes.
So we'll move on to controversial corner, and we'll look at the. Listen, this is quite controversial because last week you didn't bring your results, your predictions from the previous week, but you've managed to bring them up this week, and you've tallied them up, and you've discovered that you fell one short. So you managed to get a grand total of 9, and I got a grand total of 10. So that makes me last week's winner. That means that was twice on the bounce.
Yes.
Now look into the third, and maybe a hat trick from me. We've totted up all the results from the last week's results, and I'll let AJ reveal how many correct predictions he's got going on.
25.
Oh, piddle off. Piddle off.
Go on.
Listen, I'm on a steward's inquiry here. I've got 22. I thought I'd done really, really, really well.
I thought I'd done crap, but that's really good.
I'm not having that.
Outstanding. Look, you can have a look at all of them. You were here when I wrote all of these down.
Well, you know I'm not going to listen to the past recordings. I've never listened to any of the recordings before, so I'm not likely to do it now to catch up. So you could be, you could be fiddling.
But I'm not fit. What would I have to gain from that?
You know.
Yes, all
the
right.
bragging rights.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Oh, okay. Listen, you've averted the hat trick anyway. Then, so listen.
Back to normal business, normal service resumed there. I won by 3 points. God knows how. I don't know. I didn't call so many draws this time. In fact, I don't think one of my draws. No, 2 of my draws actually came through there. I am a bit of a draw specialist, but one of my draws was Rami versus Earlham that came through, and then Fulwood Amateurs versus Darwin on Tuesday night, delivering me another point there from the draw section.
In respect to draws, I think I just got caught with my draws down. Anyway, moving on to more controversial issues in controversial corner.
Deeply controversial.
A really serious note here now. Tommy Taylor has been suspended and released by Trearddur Bay Football Club following a full-on elbow assault on an opposition player, Danny Brookwell, who plays for Porthmadog.
Yep.
Now, he's the subject of a police inquiry. I think he's been arrested and has been charged, as far as I know. Incidentally, the referee didn't actually see what had happened, so the game continued.
Yeah.
But in this area where social media often tries to trick us, someone thankfully recorded the incident to prove it actually happened.
Yes.
Sadly, I've seen worse on the pitch in the years I've been watching football. And I'm trying to sort of look at comparisons here, and it's very difficult to do. But I'll talk about the full-on kung fu attack by Eric Cantona some 26 years ago at Crystal Palace, which was unforgivable at the time, and I think it resulted in just a 10-month ban for for Cantona.
Yeah.
Was it that round about right, is it?
Give or take, yes it was.
Was there any police charges given, handed out to him then?
It was initially. I don't know if he only got community service or whether the charges were dropped completely. I'm really not sure on that one. I do remember watching the incident on YouTube. But I don't remember the full-on details of what his punishment was, legally speaking.
But we're trying to look for a like comparison, and time changes. It's 26 years ago since that happened. Your automatic response when you're seeing that is that this is a lifetime ban.
Yeah, it is.
When you're looking at, you've obviously got to look at test cases in the past and say to yourself, well, does he get banned? Listen, at 35 years of age, I don't think it's really going to have a great effect on him, even if they do ban him for life.
Well, I mean, we're seeing players like Kevin Ellison playing until they're 46. Yeah. Our own Craig Fitzjohn is 40 and he's still playing. Yeah. There are players who are playing in their late 30s and early 40s in a longevity that we are seeing as part of natural human and sports science development. There's no reason why he wouldn't, but this is appalling. We're seeing it.
So listen, we're saying it's unprovoked.
We've no idea what the context behind it was.
Yeah, we don't know whether there's any sort of banter or chit chat between the two of them. It looks as though they're gearing up for a penalty. Was it a penalty?
It was a penalty.
It was a penalty. They're both standing on the edge of the box,
as they do.
And obviously,
Taylor swings his elbow.
And for context, because we really have to look at the serious side of this. If it had just landed, the elbow would have landed just below the chin. It could have crushed the larynx or the trachea, blocking the airway and causing asphyxiation, and could have ultimately killed him. And I know we say could have, would have, should have, whatever.
But even so, come on.
It's serious. It was sly because the player didn't know it was happening.
No.
He didn't know it was coming.
No. It was an ambush, wasn't it, really?
It was an ambush. But if we're going to look at comparisons in the way that we hand down law, I don't think he's got... I think he certainly needs to get some kind of custodial sentence for that.
I would have thought he'd get a custodial sentence, yeah. I do think I think a lifetime ban is probably appropriate in this case, unless there's context to it, which...
Well, you can't even say that, can you, in this day and age?
No, you probably can't.
I mean, there's no physicality. He's not...
defending himself. There's no repercussions from the other player. They're literally standing side by side, and then the elbow goes... flying into Brookwell's face, and he was noted to have been concussed from this. Didn't require hospital treatment though. He did just go home and
I'm surprised he kept his teeth.
I am,
because it was a full-on swing, wasn't it?
It was,
and there's very little flesh on the.
It's all muscle and bone, isn't it? It's awful in that respect.
And I don't know whether he actually got him with the actual elbow or the.
No idea.
Or the sort of forearm.
The footage isn't that clear that you can see exactly where it hit him. You have a rough idea of where it was that the impact came from, and it looked pretty impactful, violent as anything.
Yeah, but in terms of looking at his disciplinary record, I would imagine the FA will look into that and take that into consideration.
Yeah,
I've and I've not done any sort of background investigations into it to see whether he's had poor discipline in the past.
I've no idea.
But if he hasn't, what are we thinking? We're thinking. In terms of bans? If Cantona gets a 10-month ban for a full kung fu kick,
we knew that Cantona's was provoked, though. We knew that his was provoked.
Well, provocation depends which context. I mean, people say words.
Yeah.
Is that enough provocation to go and hit someone?
Depends what they say, really.
Well, I don't know whether it does.
You think about Zinedine Zidane, and in his sending off in the World Cup final in 06. He never. Yeah, it was his last game. Yeah, he retired anyway, but he didn't receive any police outcome for that one. Now, admittedly, he didn't cause that much violence. He headbutted the chest of Marco Materazzi. But
looking at greater context in videos, there's another video of another player butting his opponent, and when you see it from the back, it looks really, really pretty bad. But when you look at it side on, the actual bloke that he's leaned into really more than anything has actually pressed his face against his.
That's interesting.
And it's all about fine margins there, isn't it, in terms of what you do see and what you don't see.
Look, I think from what we see,
there's no leaning in. He's actually, Tommy Taylor's not getting touched at all, is he?
No, he's not. No, he's in that standing.
Brookwell's just standing there, and he could be talking to him. He could be saying something. He could be saying your mother's a whore. We don't know whether he said anything like that. But in terms of context, is that great enough provocation to get a full-on elbow?
No, I don't. I think
there's no excuse for violence.
That does go to kind of vigilante justice, really, doesn't it? You think about.
But what's the worst thing okay, you've just said it depends on what he said, or what's being said, or the greater context to it. What is the worst thing somebody can say to someone to provoke them into doing something?
Insulting their family, I guess, is probably the.
But even that, is that good enough?
No, probably not.
So, times have changed. It's 26 years on since Cantona received his ban.
31.
Is it 20?
It was 1995 this happened. Cantona wasn't playing for United 26 years ago. He retired in 97. It was 31 years ago, yeah.
You're pulling me up on detail today.
I'm here for you, mate. I can even
ago?
Name you the fan who he attacked.
What year was it then?
1995.
1995?
Yes. I was still in nappies at that point.
1995, so that's 30 plus years ago.
Yes.
All right. Okay, fair enough. 30 years ago. I thought it was a little bit shorter period than that. But listen, it doesn't matter.
I'll tell you.
It's a long time ago.
I'll tell you what did happen 26 years ago that is quite relevant to this, and that's Roy Keane's high kick on Alfie Haaland.
Well, I was actually going to mention that, and maybe that's where I put the 26 years in. Yeah. Listen, there's been a lot of incidents on the pitch. If you remember back in the 70s, the full-on fights that they used to have, fist fights.
Yeah.
Kevin Keegan, Billy Bremner, was it?
Yeah, I remember that one. That was all mullets and high kicks, wasn't it? Really.
But neither of them had backs to each other when it happened. So
no.
I suppose that evens it up a little bit. And
yeah, I think it does. It's difficult to kind of compare, because they're all so nuanced in their own way. I think ultimately what this calls for, regardless of the context here, I think you've probably got to look at Taylor's history of his discipline, and I'm thinking a minimum 12 months.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it is much more than that. And that could be the end of his career anyway. Who knows?
Be interesting to see what happens there.
What I would say to people is that, by and large, a lot of us we like to see a little bit of a scrap on the football pitch.
Well, there's nothing wrong with seeing passion in there and getting into altercations to stand up for your teammates. This wasn't that though. This wasn't that. This was cowardly. This was gut punching somebody without them noticing it, and then.
Well, we're human beings. We're all prone to making mistakes, aren't we? And at the end of the day, if his disciplinary record previously to that incident is rather good, then I think the powers that might be will be a lot more lenient. We're all capable of making. I'm going to not say knee-jerk because this was an elbow, but we can make really, really bad decisions and regret them as soon as we've done them.
I don't know if you can call this a mistake though, because by looking at it, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. It's not like he's challenging for the ball and he's, accidentally got his studs into him or he's planted his foot wrong or he's clashed heads with him. This is a premeditated...
But how far in advance did Eric Cantona know he was going to conduct a kung fu kick on a spectator.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds is enough.
So it might have been seconds with Tommy. Not enough time to change your mind, and you've done it.
I think there is.
I'd like to think that you can give everybody a second chance.
I don't know.
What happened to what's the fella's name? The Italian fella that pushed the referee over.
Di Canio.
Is it Di Canio?
It was 11 games. I think he got.
Yeah. That's a bit of a no-no, isn't it? Touching a referee.
Oh God, yeah.
So you can't compare that to an elbow in the face. I know.
No,
but we're looking at past incidents.
We are. Yeah. It was 11 games as well.
Well, you will remember that, have you? And he's just flexing his bicep there. AJ.
I'm not flexing my bicep. I did a fist pump.
You are. Listen, I've got it on video as well.
No, you don't.
No, okay, I don't. I thought you might admit it if you knew that it was
Absolutely
on video.
Absolutely not. Never.
So what we're saying...
Will Taylor admit it?
What would you be surprised if he got a lifetime ban? I would.
Yeah, I would. But I think there's going to be still quite a severe punishment.
Well, he's going to get severe enough punishment from the prosecution services, isn't he?
Yeah,
I would imagine he's going to get a custodial sentence there.
Or a suspended one.
Yeah, I think he'd have... there's no mitigation there, is there, at all? You can't turn around and say, he's pushed me, shoved me,
etc. No, there's nothing really to compare or give him mitigation in that one. So we'll just have to see what comes. We'll let you know. Our listeners will let you know when it does.
And I suppose, really, when you talk about controversial subjects, that's probably about the most controversial of subjects that you could probably ever have. That really, isn't it? Bar something far worse than that. That's probably probably the highest level of physical violence on a football.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. There's the manner and the context was everything in that one. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So listen, we'll move on to Chasetown. Listen, we won't go too much into their full-on statement, but following their 2-1 defeat to Runcorn Linnets on Saturday, Chasetown made an announcement, and basically it's surrounding the younger players that... Go on, I'll let you lead on that.
The younger supporters, yeah. So Chasetown wishes to inform supporters that with immediate effect, new entry and conduct measures will apply at all home fixtures. What they have done is they have banned supporters from 16 years and under from entering the ground unless accompanied by a responsible adult. The adult must remain with the child at all times within the grounds and is fully responsible for the child's supervision and welfare during their time on site. As Chasetown FC is a public venue, responsibility for children rests at all times with their parent or accompanying adult. Any person under the age of 16 found unaccompanied within the ground, including where the accompanying adult has entered the ground and subsequently left, will be required to leave the premises immediately. Staff do reserve the right to request proof of age. They then go on to identify that they have a zero tolerance approach to antisocial behaviour, foul language and any form of misconduct, including throwing any object onto the pitch, encroaching onto it, or anything such as the like. Now, my feeling on this one is that they have started to get a bit of a reputation in recent games, and there is indeed footage to kind of accommodate this of young fans actively fighting on the pitch.
Well, I don't know what you made of the video when it first emerged, because I was looking at it and I didn't know the teams that were involved or the supporters that were involved. Yeah. In fact, I just thought it was one of them run-of-the-mill silly videos where somebody's documenting violence. But when it did emerge that it was alleged supporters of Chasetown, I actually noticed that one person was wielding a weapon.
Yeah.
And
absolutely ludicrous. And again,
I don't know what kind of weapon. It just looked like a long...
Like a pole or...
It looked like a hammer to me. It looked like a hammer, but I don't know.
It's a hammer to a non-league football match.
Yeah. Listen, I might be wrong, but it just looked... If you look at the footage again, it's very grainy, it's dark, it's hard to see, but it's a long weapon, and it was actually used, I believe, as well. So listen, they're lucky that somebody wasn't seriously hurt in that.
Yeah, and I think Chasetown are doing exactly what they should do to ensure the kind of safety of supporters. We've seen it already at this level with the outcome of the Avro versus Kidsgrove Athletic game, where supporters were involved in a major ruckus that spilled onto the pitch, and I think Chasetown are putting measures in place to ensure that doesn't happen here, particularly with antisocial behaviour.
This looked more like football firm type of violence, didn't it?
Firm in this day and age.
But
God,
I get
such a 70s movement, man.
But I get a feeling now that some of the youth in this country are getting a little bit bored now, and I think there's a far more violence occurring after football matches now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got away from that period where it was settling down, where it's building up again. And I just think maybe, particularly with young people, that they actually think they've turned themselves into some kind of football firm, and they're trying to earn a reputation. They're not really serious football supporters then at that.
They're just looking for a fight.
Yeah.
That's really disappointing, because that's coming down to non-league as well. Now, non-league, for as long as we've been, for as long as you've been involved, has always been a haven for football fans who just want to watch football and be involved with it at a bit of a closer level. It's always been family friendly. There's always been good relationships between opposing fans. So to have this kind of absolute jokery going on is just kind of ruining the reputation of Chasetown Football Club and non-league in general.
So this was after the game in the streets. I mean, but if you look last season,
even so.
Yeah, what I'm saying to you look last season though, I think was it Lancaster played Macclesfield?
They did, yeah.
And there was violence erupted actually on the terraces as well.
Yeah, and we wanted to hope that was kind of an isolated incident, and indeed when we discussed it, we looked at kind of the greater context of two massive teams within the Northern Premier League who, maybe segregation was a good idea there in order to kind of minimise the demand placed on stewards for who there were sort of few and far between. Whereas down here, I know Chasetown can pull in some good 300-400 crowds.
Yeah.
But
I went to Chasetown years ago when Skem played them in an away game. I don't know that it was a cup game or a league game. Memory seems to sort of lean towards a cup game. Really nice, tranquil setting.
Yeah.
The last place you'd expect violence will erupt on the street. And listen, there's absolutely no need for it, but they're quite right in what they're doing. I just don't know any 15-year-old that would want to be accompanied by the parent go to a football match.
Well, it says a responsible adult, isn't it? So, realistically, if you had an older sibling or something like that one. Yeah. But I think that's an excellent deterrent, and it probably the fighting may still happen on the streets, but at least it doesn't spill into the stadium where Chasetown Football Club then have to put themselves in a position of getting rid of riotous fans in order to protect the safety.
Well, you've
of
got to pay for expensive stewarding, then and then possibly you've got to inform the police, and then the police have got to come around, and then there could be police charges as well, in terms of securing the football matches. You don't, and then it becomes far too expensive to run the football club. You may as well fold if we go down that route. But listen,
another one.
Not something we want to see. It's got to stop, and some of these kids have got to realise. Yeah, listen, by all means, have a fair bit of banter during the football matches. Enjoy it. But when you go home, everybody that turns up for a football match fully expects to go back home all in one piece.
Unharmed, absolutely.
Yeah. So what was the story you were going to pick up on?
So this story, it's... I don't know whether it's controversial or... I think it is, but I want to get other people's take on this. So... FC Isle of Man are a team who pride themselves on producing players only from the island itself, a bit like how Athletic Bilbao won't bring in any player who is not from the Basque region. Yeah. Okay, so it's almost like for like. But on Tuesday night, that all changed when they signed on loan Oldham Athletic striker Will De Candia. okay, who became the first player from mainland Britain to sign for FC Isle of Man. He went straight into the starting lineup against West Didsbury and Chiltern on Tuesday night. Now, one of the fans, I think it is, a fan of FC Isle of Man, said one of the assurances that FC Isle of Man gave was that they are not allowed to bring players from England. We can't just go and say, if our centre forward gets injured this week, let's go and take Withenshaws for £300 for the day, or go and get someone from the league above, because we gave that up as part of our constitution in the first 10 years at least. But I don't think we'll ever do it. Because once you bring players in and we're not the Isle of Man anymore, I just don't see how the community buys into you. If you flooded it with English players, then actually you've lost the whole sense of what we're trying to achieve. So he's saying that if you bring in players from mainland England to start playing for FC Isle of Man, it stops being FC Isle of Man and starts being just another English team.
Yeah, but that's a rule they've enforced upon themselves, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Leslie, I've followed the story a little bit since you mentioned it. They've struggled, FC Isle of Man, this season, haven't they?
They have.
They're languishing in the lower reaches of the Premier Division there.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of desperation attached to this. I don't know the full context. I don't know whether this player that's going to be on loan is going to be housed over in the Isle of Man, which would slightly change the narrative. To give you an example of narratives, really, I used to once watch follow the Welsh Clwydian Football League, and they had a rule that you had to live within 2.5 miles of the ground to play for the club. So a transfer system there, the way to get transferred or registered with another club was you'd go out on a Saturday night to the opposition's pub where you wanted to go and play. You'd cop off with one of the local ladies, use their address and get automatically transferred to their club.
God.
Yeah, but they're the desperate... the rules sometimes can force you into making silly, or
odd,
looking for an advantage. Now, I think it's very, very difficult on an island so small, and I don't know what the population is, but
of the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
Well, they're not all going to be able to play football either. Let's have a look. Isle of Man population: 84 to 85,000 from the 2021 census.
So that's roughly the population of. Should we, like for like, are we talking maybe Blackpool? I don't know what Blackpool's just trying to think of a like for like population. Who's got a population?
144,000.
Oh, right, okay.
Hang on. I think I've got one. Let's just double check.
Surely.
Burnley's is 78.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough. Burnley's a good example then, isn't it? Burnley would really, really struggle to build a team purely based on that population.
Yeah.
There. So they'd have to go further afield as well.
Yes, they would. Yeah.
In terms of the Isle of Man, it's a half an hour flight. In terms of the crow flies, it's probably about 10 miles, if that.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a million miles away from the homeland.
No, it's not, but the expenses and the logistics of actually registering players there is probably more of the difficulty than anything else. And if they're going to move to the island permanently, they've got to find employment, they've got to find housing, they've got.
But he's on loan, isn't he?
He is on loan, yeah.
I don't think he would move lock, stock and barrel.
No, but
I mean, listen, the other
might play only the away games.
Well, I was just going to say that to you. He might only just play the away games. Nobody's said either way whether that would be the case. I think the Constitution is making it very difficult for a little bit like some of the fan-owned clubs. I think it restricts them in terms of progression.
Yeah.
And I certainly think that's what's happening with the FC Isle of Man. I think they've made a positive move, and it'd be something that probably a lot of people over is sort of in the northwest area of this country. Would love to take a chance at going playing for the FC Isle of Man. If I was a young man playing football in the northwest now, and I got the opportunity to play for the FC Isle of Man, and it wasn't going to cost me money out of my own pocket, I'd be up for it. I'd love that. It's a great place to go and play. You've not been there, but the Bowl, I think they call it.
Yep.
Magnificent looking stadium. It's great. It's
Good
like
turnout as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like an international stadium. It's like one of them. You know, when you look at some of the lower teams in the Champions League, you know, the ones that get through from the sort of minnows of the
Bodo Glimt, the team who beat City earlier
things
on
like that.
year.
And if you look at the Faroe Islands in the World Cup or something like that, they're like sparse stadium. They're not like big stadiums or anything like that.
No.
But it's got that international feel about it anyway.
Nice. Okay.
And it's you know, the great people on the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is a fantastic place to go.
Oh yeah. I don't doubt it for a
I
second.
buy into it. And like I said, the Constitution's letting them down. I think they need to change that. They must have already altered it or agreed to it in order for this to facilitate this. I think it's a good idea for them to move forward. If they're going to progress, surely they don't want to stay in the North West Counties Premier Division forever.
No, of course not. No, and I think it being their national football team, if you like, then they've got to put as much resource into making that grow as possible. And see, the thing is, with national teams all over, we are becoming more flexible in our, footballing, sporting constitutions, really. You know, you've got flexibility across, football in terms of, heritage qualifying you for different teams, or residency grounds qualifying you to play for national teams as well. Like I said, the only one that's just as rigid is Athletic Bilbao, and they've got a population of over 300,000.
We've never revisited it, but we did a story on Guernsey, didn't we, once, during the...
that was the playoff debacle,
League,
wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't know whether they were mainly made up of islanders or whether their constitution said that they could only have islanders themselves. Being another interesting one to look at. But
so.
I think you're restricting yourself. It's a little bit like being at the Isle of Wight. If you've got a team over there, and it's the island is too small to accommodate a team of. The talent pool is
very limited.
Very limited. So I'm all for it.
I think I think they've probably got to be a bit more open to it as well if they want to progress. Yeah. Now then,
moving on to Macclesfield Town. No, they're not Macclesfield Town.
Just Macclesfield now.
Macclesfield now. So they've come under the spotlight because, as we know, they managed to beat the FA Cup holders Crystal Palace the other week.
Yes, they've been drawn against Brentford.
Yeah, they weren't particularly happy with it. The manager seemed to think they deserved a bigger... What's his name?
John Rooney.
John Rooney, that's it, brother of
Wayne.
So they've decided now that they're going to charge £35 a ticket for their home cup tie against Brentford in the next round. Good idea or bad idea in your opinion?
I think they are milking it a little bit. They're going to get a big following coming down from Brentford anyway, and I think what they're doing is just kind of cutting off their nose to spite their face a little bit there. I think there will be people who will pay a ticket for this, which could be a once in a lifetime thing.
What's their capacity?
Moss Rose. Is it 5?
Well, you're doing that. I'll waffle on.
I think it's about 5,000. Let's have a look.
Well, I don't think it's particularly bad. I think £35. I'd certainly pay £35 to watch Skelmersdale United Football Club in the fourth round. It is the fourth round, isn't it? The fourth round of
yes, it is, yes.
I'd certainly pay that if they got to those dizzy odds. This is a one-off. Yes, you could arguably turn around and say it's a little bit unfair on the supporters that have been supporting them through the thick.
5,300.
5,300. If this tie was being played at Brentford, I would imagine their share of the gate would far exceed that. They don't want to give up the home advantage, so that in itself gives the locals the opportunity to watch their team at Macclesfield hosting a Premier League football club.
Yeah. Like I say, I think people will pay it. I just think that they're going to be a bit resentful having to pay £35 for a ticket when they've probably played, what do you think, about half that?
Where was the previous game? Was it at Macclesfield against Crystal Palace?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a home game.
Yeah, what did they charge for that?
I don't think it was £35.
No, it obviously isn't, because this has come under the spotlight. But they've been unlucky in terms of they've had 2 home draws in the third and fourth round. And in terms of, listen, it's a business at the end of the day. People don't like you saying that, but we're all judged by profit and loss. And if Macclesfield went out of business again, a lot of critics would turn around and say, well, you only charge £16, £18, whatever it is for a ticket when you had the opportunity to charge £35.
Yeah.
So I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
I'm with them. I think they're doing the right thing. I think if they'd have been a little bit more fortunate, they'd have drawn, Liverpool away from home or something like that. Where I don't know what Accrington Stanley made, and I know they're not an on-league football club, but in terms of populations and crowd, they attract a lesser crowd than Macclesfield do at home. So they would have made their payday. They must have got a huge payday when they played Liverpool at Anfield.
Oh yeah, I would think so. But
so they missed out. Macclesfield have missed out, haven't they? Because this is an away tie to a Premier League football club. They're going to make an absolute killing. Just imagine back in the time when what was the name of the club now? Burton played Manchester United at Old Trafford.
Okay, so for the it was £30. It was £30 against Palace. Okay, so it's not a massive jump.
No.
So by that regard, if you're stretching it by a £5, that's all right. I think if they'd gone up to like 50, that would have been a bit of a rubbish move. But
you say the point that I've made, that if they've been unlucky on the last 2 occasions to be drawn at home.
Yeah.
When they could have had
a share of a full Premier League attendance gate, which
big cash.
Anything from 12,000 up to 60. Yeah, I understand where that's coming from. So yeah, I think they've got
to split this 3 ways as well. A third of it goes to Brentford and a third of it goes to the FA as well, as far as I know. The gate receipts. So
yeah, all right. With that in mind, then they're probably trying to make as much as they can out of it, realising that the opportunity might not be there again.
As we know, Macclesfield went out of business a few years ago. They managed to get back into business. And like I say, if you were being hypercritical, if that was to ever happen again, you'd be looking at it and saying, well, you had an opportunity back then.
Yeah, they're probably learning. They're learning lessons, really, aren't they? Yeah. No. Do you know what? I think you're right. Yeah, I think they're making the use of it, of what they can while they can, and I think it's a reasonable increase to host a Premier League team.
Well, you've heard it here at the Speaking Frankly football show that we endorse Macclesfield charging £35 for a ticket.
So get off your high horse.
Yeah, stop moaning about it and support your team.
Pay the bloody ticket.
Yeah, it's an extra £5. It's a one-off. Unless
they go into the 5th round and get a home tie again.
Yeah,
in which case, we're going to be doing this all again in 2 weeks' time.
Are Man United still in the cup,
Nope.
are they? No. So Liverpool still are.
Yeah.
So if they were lucky enough to get Liverpool in the next round at home, I think they'd be probably putting the tickets up to £45.
I get that, and that'd be fun.
The demand for them tickets would be amazing without it. I think the argument is the pricing the regular supporters out of it. That said, I don't know whether there was a deal struck with season ticket holders.
I should imagine so.
Yeah, they would have given them priority on tickets anyway, but
definitely.
Maybe they've not charged them as much. I don't know. We'd have to look further into that.
Yeah,
but overall, the Speaking Frankly football show supports Macclesfield
and their ticket increases. For this one game.
So listen, we'll move to the final part of the show. We'll talk about Skelmersdale United Football Club. We'll look at some controversial news that's
coming out of the Liverpool League,
coming out of the Liverpool County Premier. We'll come to that in a bit, but we'll also discuss our predictions and our expert analysis.
Yeah.
Should we start off with Skem United or should we start off with Daysbrook? I think we should start off with Daysbrook.
All right, yeah. So we had confirmation from the Secretary of the Liverpool Football League, Gary Berwick, this afternoon.
I do apologise. If this news is embargoed, I do apologise, but it's...
Bans.
Yeah.
Did he say it on the email?
No.
Okay, that's fine. So we had an email come through from Gary Berwick, the Secretary of the Liverpool Premier League, to advise us that Daysbrook Football Club resigned from the league effective from today. That means, because Daysbrook were one of the teams that we beat earlier on this season, it means that we have lost 3 points.
Again.
again, having lost 3 points from our result against FC King Harry earlier on in the season. This means we now have 6 points this season and are still mired at the bottom of the table.
Couldn't write it, could it?
No, honestly, it's so frustrating because we felt like we were building up a bit of momentum to make a bit of a late charge to go up the table, and we found that the rug has been taken out from under our feet by another resignation from the league, with the very real possibility of another team following them in going out of business as well, although we have no confirmation of that yet. That's just pipe talk at this point.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. What they've said is that they're struggling to get a team together to compete. And that was the same for FC King Harry as well. It's not great for the reputation of the league.
No.
Gary Berwick and those that are involved are doing the best they possibly can, and they do their due diligence. Before they bring these teams into the league, so they've done their bit.
Yes.
You can't sort of. You can't accommodate.
You do your best, but if the team isn't able to accommodate themselves, then that leads them to kind of fall through the trapdoor, if you like. And I get it that you can't support, as a league, you cannot support teams who aren't able to support themselves. So Gary does his due diligence, and I've no doubt that he does it well. He's a good secretary. We like him. We've spoken to him. He's been on the show. But at the end of the day,
it would be a right big kick in the balls to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because he's trying to keep the Liverpool County Premier League as an amateur divisional setup.
Well, the worry is it will lose its feeder league status. That could possibly happen. I would imagine.
That's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. But
so, as a feeder league, it means that any team that has the correct infrastructure in terms of stadium and ground grading and finishes within the top 5 of the Liverpool County Premier League is eligible for access into the semi-pro circuit of the football pyramid.
And it's been a very successful
It
league.
has.
It's produced
MSB
the likes
Walton,
of MSB Walton and Lower Breck
Breck.
further back than that. So they've come up through the system. I think South Liverpool did as well, didn't they? They folded and then came back into existence, and I think they might have come through that system as well.
Yeah, exactly. So Gary Berwick has seen some success stories from his team.
But it's no reflection on him.
No, God, no. Not in the
league.
slightest, no. And I think it probably proves just how hard he is working to try and make the Liverpool Premier League a feeder league with a reputation to uphold as well. But once again, it goes back to this story that we have always referred to whenever there's been difficulties within the Merseyside footballing scene. That football is far, far too diluted to accommodate teams from semi-pro down, and that as a result is having effect on the amateur circuit now.
It makes you wonder how, if the FA have their way and they increase step 6 to 24 teams right across the board, and the North West counties get an additional division, where they're gonna sort of bring those teams from.
They're going to have to amalgamate it from Cheshire, West Lancashire, and Liverpool County. But Liverpool County will have very little to be able to offer at the minute.
And there's a couple of divisions that are not providing any candidates for promotion either.
No.
But listen, what I did notice, and I've got to mention it, is when we talk about Dayswick, looking through the results, there was actually 5 walkovers where the team that they were due to play had already received a walkover, and I'm assuming that was both in league and cup games as well.
Does that mean that Daysbrook weren't able to field a team? Is that what that means?
I'm saying that they've been struggling for a while now.
Okay.
Probably the league have done the best to accommodate them to make sure that they've got every chance of survival, which is good on their behalf. But it's obviously not worked. I do sympathise with Daysbrook because I know how difficult it is at this level to keep people interested.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion before about bench warmers. People sooner going playing for and not playing, sitting on the bench, warming the benches up, but also players that would go and prefer to play for under 23s, youth football. reserve football, and in some instances they're actually sitting on the bench there as well.
Yeah.
So it's very, very difficult to keep the interest going, and of course a lot of these teams play on hubs. And the difficulty with some of these clubs, more so than us right now, is finding training facilities as well, because those facilities that they're already playing on are maximised right up to the hilt in terms of training, and all these kids' teams. And we are definitely going to have a show on academy football, because it's a little bit of beer in me bonnet now, where sometimes where you hear about clubs having 50, 60, 70 teams. I'm wondering whether it's more of a commercial project than it is actually a progression project, because, in my opinion, you probably only need 13 teams from your under-7s right up to your reserves and first team. Otherwise, you're diluting it even further. I mean, there's some. So you can have 5, 6 under 10 teams in one football club. What purpose does that serve? Because there's no progression there. And in most circumstances, some of them are just playing because coaching is a waste of time, because they're not going to get any better. No. They're just, and I can understand everybody should have the right to play football and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you're going down that route of giving the impression, particularly to the parents, that your kid is going to make the grade one day, then you're selling them a falsehood, and you're also fleecing them of money. Yeah. And we need to speak to somebody with a little bit more experience on this one. But it really, really does annoy me, and it makes it far more difficult. I think there's no progression there.
There isn't, to some degree. I think the advantage of having a very large junior and academy setup is it does allow for positive inclusivity. The notion that any child can play football for this team regardless of talent or capability, and it gives them a sense of inclusivity. It gives them friends. It gives them something to do on a Tuesday and a Saturday. I think where the distinction starts to be quite problematic is when you start just bringing in teams for the sake of money and not actually valuing their progression as a team, to the point where they're bottom of the league. There's no capabilities for these players, and they're getting their bottoms handed to them every week by 9-0, 10-0, something ludicrous like that.
Who did we speak to from MSB Walton? Just remind me. We've had that many people on the show.
Oh, honest to God. Sean, Steve,
no, it wasn't Sean, but
Barry. I'm just giving you names now.
Yeah, but listen, give
us a minute.
The point that I'm making, well, I'll waffle on while you're doing the research, but when we spoke to him, he said, I said to him, what's your proudest achievement? And he said, it's got nothing really to do with actual football.
Colin Windrow, of
course, yeah, how can I forget that name? So he said that when he went to the pub on a Friday and Saturday, and people used to come up to him and say, listen, I used to play at MSB Walton years ago. And they've either turned into a builder, an accountant, or whatever. And he said, it's not so much about the football, it's a discipline, it's bringing people together and forming friendships for life. And I understand that side of it, but I think there is a flip side to it where a lot of kids are getting sold, and parents are certainly getting sold the dream, and they're getting fleeced. And they're paying a lot of money.
A lot of money. Like when I was playing football in the early mid 2000s, I think I paid either 20 or 30 quid subs, and that sorted me for the season. We had a really excellent junior setup where I was.
People are paying 50, 60 quid a month now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the demand for money, investment within the game right now is absolutely ludicrous, and it does beg the question of exactly where this money is going, because it doesn't cost a lot to pay for kits, for junior kits, because most of the manufacturers will give you a decent deal.
But we also know that sponsors, when it comes to kids football, they'll throw money in it.
Yeah, they will, because it's
far more than they will with adult
It's giving them a lovely association with their own community, and fair play to them. Yeah. I get it, but yeah, I think there's a deep problematic distinction between promoting inclusivity and actually just selling kids a falsehood and ploughing them for money. And I think we are. I think there are teams out there that are doing either or and possibly both.
So we're in step 7.
We are.
As we're Daysbrook. And when we look at that, step 7, step 8, and below that, is there any real need, just to throw in a question here, is there any real need to have a reserve team when you're at step 7, step 8?
I think...
If it's difficult enough to get a first team, then for those that have already got reserve teams, it makes it more difficult for those. There's just a plethora. We're talking about Liverpool now. There's a huge plethora of teams at that level, isn't there?
And I think the same can be said in West Lancashire as well. I know Charnock Richard have a reserve team in West Lancashire. Exton Villa do as well. So I think there is good reason to do that. And I certainly would like to think that if you play for the reserves team, you are immediately giving yourself a shot at promotion to the first team.
Not always been the case.
Exactly,
though.
I know.
Historically, it's never been the case. And to be fair, I don't know any first team manager that would actually keep tabs on the reserves. I just don't think.
Which again makes it all the more disappointing.
Unless there's something extremely talented there.
Yeah, but why?
We're talking about watering down.
Yes, we
diluting
are.
Things again.
So why on earth are they trading under the semi-professional name of a team that just doesn't really give a hootenanny about?
I'm not saying that'll always be the case.
No.
There will be exceptions to that.
Of course.
But I'm just worried about the overall dilution of football.
Yeah.
And certainly if they're going to dilute step 6 even further,
which is looking like what they're doing right now. Given
the worry is
the second team.
Yeah. But the worry is at North West Counties level, you're going to have teams that are folding then as well, and that doesn't do the reputation of the North West Counties any good, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, we
or step 6.
Yeah, exactly. So we hope that there wasn't any folding of any team last season from step 6. Obviously, the discussions around Widnes Town, Widnes FC folding that had happened at step 4, and obviously there have been question marks over City of Liverpool this season, which we hope it doesn't come to.
Listen, just for context, we had, going slightly off the story, but in context with a fair bit of it, we had an example of one of our players that was tapped up by another club and said, listen, you come and play in our reserves this season, and next season you can make the progression to the first team.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not going to name names, but that just shows you the route that people will go down just to trod on you.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously we hope that he does kind of make that progression for his own capabilities. But
he's back on board, so I mean, right now he's back on board, so that's good.
With us or with them? Oh, he's with us.
He's back on board with us, so it's not.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, not going to name names because it gives it away. But once again, a club that's lower than us and run a reserve team as well. And certainly that's the narrative of being sold. And
they're just trading on the name, and then aren't they really? And selling a falsehood for progression in the same way that the junior teams
just to trod on us.
Yeah. Horrible that.
Anyway, let's move on to Skelmersdale United Football Club, of course.
And a deeply frustrating Saturday afternoon for us at the Marine Travel Arena, where we were beaten 2-1 by River Football Club, a result which keeps us at the bottom of the...
Before we go any further, though, we have to announce that you actually made your debut on Saturday.
Not wearing the blue for Skelmersdale United, although I would deeply love to even just sit on the bench as a substitute, quite frankly. As an unused substitute, I don't care. I just want to put the strip on.
I'm going to buy myself the privilege at the end of the season.
Attaboy. I was pulled into running the line. So we had an allocated referee and one allocated linesman that showed up. The other one didn't. Now, we moved.
Greater context, he did. He turned up about the 20th minute mark.
I was going to say that.
In the game, and then decided, I'm not needed, I'll bugger off. And off he went.
Indeed, yeah. He left when he noticed that somebody was actually running the line, which was deeply unhelpful for me. It meant I had to abandon my stadium announcement duties in favour of running the line.
Did you put the mic back, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good lad.
Yeah.
Because I completely forgot.
Don't worry about it, no, because my phone was up there and everything, like my speakers, everything, so I had to go and tidy it away. So, yeah, I was, as the only member of Skelmersdale United Football Club's committee and volunteer section with 2 working knees and 2 able lungs, I was drafted in to help.
Not wrong with my lungs, lad.
What about your knees, Frank?
Yeah, well, not my knees, my hips.
There you go.
Yeah, but listen, you were only there to do ins and outs, and this.
I was advised that I was only going to do ins and outs and not call offsides. The reason for this was because it would be a conflict of interest if I was to flag for offside either for or against my team.
Well, once again, Bob Check saved a penalty that we could have disputed.
His 5th penalty save of the season, I should add.
Incredible what he's done.
And arguably his best one.
But it was arguably, it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah.
But listen, he saved it, so it didn't matter. The first goal when it came in the first half,
was inevitable, to be honest.
Yeah, we were under pressure because playing 3 at the back. We talked about that. But in the end, a sort of another decision that could have gone a different way had we had the assistant linesman there, referee there.
Yeah,
because it was arguably offside.
Looking at it from where I was, I didn't think that it
was. But you weren't in line.
I was 2 yards behind.
You were about 4 actually, but
no, wasn't.
You were miles up. But then listen, you didn't have to keep up with play because you could only give it ins and outs anyway, didn't you? So no. Listen, I was shouting at you and saying it's offside.
Yeah, because nobody at that point realised that I couldn't flag for offsides, even though I told the referee to make it very clear to both teams.
Very nearly doing this show, I'll be honest.
Exactly, I would have been summarily fired from the team.
Yeah, but it was a bit disappointing. But then you know what? I was obviously annoyed with the assistant that decided, even though he turned up late, he decided to walk away. I think he should have made an attempt to replace you on the pitch. But it highlights the fact that we forever slate them, but we certainly missed having that assistant referee.
Yeah, the referee did exactly what he could do in this game. This was the second time this season where linesmen weren't at the service of the referee or the game. The first one was the week before against Netherley, and the referee,
which is standard practice at that.
Yeah, level. and the referee Ben, I've forgotten his surname, but I shouted out for him on X after the game. He did a magnificent job calling offsides by himself. No easy task. Whereas this one, I think the referee could have benefited from a linesman there who had the ability to flag for offsides. Nonetheless, they did what they could. I think mistakes were made, which is par for the course, and that kind of thing happens. I think that referees and linesmen all have an incredibly thick skin because thinking about the kind of not abuse, but the communication that I was receiving from either our own fans, our own players, and some of the oppositions as well, that was easy enough to handle at the time. But if it had been a more contentious decision, that's difficult. That's really difficult to go
So it was a big learning curve for you.
It was a big learning curve for me as well, and I think I would do it again, but I'd only ever be able to call ins and outs, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, apparently that's standard practice, isn't it, in these cases? That's what the referees...
I've had to do it before at Sunday League amateur level, where I've just called the ins and outs, as a person associated with one of the teams. It does inflict a fair bit of bias within the nature of a linesman's responsibilities. But I was glad to at least contribute towards the game actually going ahead on time. Even though I couldn't do anything to G the boys on. We played 3 at the back and were immediately under the cosh by the 3 very quick attacking players up front who were making inroads towards our goal, even though their finishing boots didn't arrive until just before half-time. Afterwards, at half-time, we then made the switch to the back 4, conceded a free kick and found ourselves 2-0 down. We then put River under a lot of pressure in the final third, scored a goal with 20 minutes to go through Brandon Carrington's 3rd of the season. Although we had chances, Toby Taylor had a shot blocked off the line, Craig Fitzjohn scooped a shot over on the turn from a corner we just couldn't make. we couldn't make our chances, and it was a deserving but probably the most frustrating loss I have ever encountered at Skelmersdale, because it was a game that we should have won.
So much deserving. I know where you're coming from. I think once again we've been victims of the bullying mentality. And listen, I'm not having a pop at the opposition, because I think you do what you can to get an edge, and they moaned.
Yeah,
they moaned something rotten, and fair enough to them. But
they were looking for a lot of free kicks as well.
But we didn't. We didn't remonstrate with the referee,
no.
And I think if you give if the referee gets criticism and the same level of criticism time and time again, he's going to believe he's going to go with the opposition rather than with.
He's going to go with the voice, isn't he?
He's going to go with the voice rather than us, and we need to be more vocal. We need to learn to be more vocal. Our captain needs to go up to the referee and say, "Listen, who's refereeing this game? You know, you've got that decision wrong."
But that's a difficult responsibility on the shoulders of somebody who's still learning his way in the game.
I know, but it's got to start somewhere.
Yes,
but listen, talking about Bob Check, our goalkeeper, he's been in wonderful form lately. I've still not asked him the question, but the second goal comes fairly early on in the second half. Despite the fact that we've changed the formation, we've been unlucky. I think a bit unfortunate. The free kick, it could have gone either way, I believe, but I can't remember it. But I've talked to a couple of people and said it wasn't a free kick. I don't know what you thought, but it doesn't really matter. Bob Check has lined his defensive wall up pretty well, but then he stayed behind it. And the ball's just gone
half of the goal to aim at, and they've put it in.
They put it in, and I didn't see where he was. You take that error out of the game, it's a 1-1.
But
we've had our opportunities. They've had their opportunities.
Yes,
I think they just probably. And you know what? In past games, I've seen us give up. I don't think we gave up on Saturday.
No.
And that's why I can't be really, really critical of the players. And then, of course, we lost Alex Davis about, 2/3 through the game, was it? Hamstring.
It looks like it's ended his season. It looked pretty substantial from where we were.
It might not end his season, but I think he might be out for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, I've not spoken to him since it happened. I would hope very much that we see him again before the season ends. He's been excellent for us, defensive or midfield, wherever he needs to be. Really, he's he's that kind of versatile player that every team needs. But it was just a deeply difficult afternoon to be associated with Skem. So on another day we could have put 3 or 4 chances away. We could have carved out far more, and I think we now know what our best formation is. We're now starting to understand exactly what players fit what role, and when to bring them off the bench.
Is it fair to say that last 20 minutes we look like the better team? If a team's going to win or get back, restore parity and go on to win the game, it looked like us at that stage.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I think it was just the final ball that was letting us down. I know that Toby Taylor could have had 2 goals normally. He'd put those kind of chances away. Brandon Carrington put a really low cross into a very dangerous area that nobody was there to sweep in. Reece Carrington wasn't putting in the crosses that he normally does. So people were off their game. It happens, but in that second half particularly, we were playing a lot more football on the ground, whereas in the first half we seemed to be searching for the kind of high Hollywood ball.
I think we've got three centre backs, but one's acting like a wing back and getting caught out of position, and there's a lot of tracking back.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think Alex Davis didn't get a proper warm up before the game because he arrived
very
late.
Yeah.
Through traffic and for other reasons, and that doesn't help. But you're prone to getting hamstring injuries from that point. I think Darren Askew is out as well. But listen, I think we can announce that thanks to Burscough Football Club, we've managed to secure the services of Connor Reddy, who played played against FC King Harry for us earlier on in the season.
Yeah, he is.
So we've got him for a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
No, that's huge news. Obviously, Connor has played for us before. Yeah, he played against King Harry, played a couple of games for us last season. Yeah, his talent and capabilities are, without question. He's played at Ashton Town before making the move over to Burscough to Northwest Counties Prem standard, and he's just bringing himself back into the game a little bit more, and getting minutes under his belt, wearing the blue of Skem. We're very grateful to have him, and we should anticipate his availability on Saturday against East Villa Rail.
So thank you to Jay and Dave, of course, for helping us out,
for engineering this. And
really appreciate that.
We certainly do.
So we've got back-to-back games against East Villa.
Rail
now. Difficult. They're in third position, I think.
They're in third position at the minute. We did wonder whether that was just by luck, but they've actually consolidated their place within a top four that seems to be kind of running away with it at the minute. Alongside Grenadier, Sefton Athletic and Liverpool now go there. 4 teams that are on 20 plus points, whereas the rest of us are either in our teens or single digit point accumulation. A situation that isn't helped by the resignation of Daysbrook, but we can only do what we can do at this point.
And listen, we'll see what the revised table is once that's been formulated over the next few days. What we can probably quite confidently say that considering that there was 14 teams at the beginning of the season and 2 have now gone kaput, it's highly unlikely that I would imagine that we'll get relegated at the end of the season.
And I think that was already
a possibility, because they want to make numbers up anyway.
Of course they do, yes. So they're not going to relegate.
And we're not going anywhere. We're not going to fold.
No, we're certainly not folding. We're still very much in a position of financial strength. We just need to reflect that on the pitch as well. I think what it does mean is that the Liverpool County Premier may promote teams from below to make up the numbers at the top end, which we hope gives us a bit more of a chance of promotion from next season.
Yeah, and listen, we have to remind potential players and football clubs in the local area. This is a good platform for young players. It's a springboard from Skem United Football Club, still a good football club.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you want to play and earn your spares and move higher up the league, don't be bench warmers anywhere. Come and play for Skem United Football Club. We train between 8 and 10 on a Wednesday night at Ormskirk School, at the back of Ormskirk School. So we're on a 3G pitch at the back there. Yeah. More than welcome to come along.
Just stick to the left of the venue, all the way to the very back end, and then the pitch entrance is on the far right hand side.
Skem is still a good club to play at.
Yeah, it is, and we can kind of reflect that in Harry Middlehurst, who's now a regular starter for Liddell and Remica. Jason Clark, who got his education at Skem last season, is a firm first choicer for City of Liverpool alongside Alex Priestley. Harrison Denton is a regular starter at Camel Laird. There's a few others as well that we can name off the cuff as well. But we still have players that are learning their trade from the benches at Skem and getting game time.
But if you want to springboard your career, Skem United Football Club still a good word in non-league football.
Hugely.
It's not a dirty word. So listen, we'll move on to the final part of the show and our predictions.
Yeah.
And we'll race through these quickly.
Yeah.
So tonight, Droylsden versus Daisy Hill.
Droylsden.
Going for Droylsden.
Yeah, Daisy Hill still. They're I think they're not in danger of relegation, but they're not doing anything at the minute. No. So, that's got to be a home win for me.
Abbey Hay versus Longridge Town. I'm going for Longridge Town. AFC Liverpool Chadderton. Still going for Chadderton, but I wouldn't be surprised if AFC Liverpool pull off the shot.
I think just by Lewis Byrne being an absolute cheat code for Chadderton is probably enough. Yeah, absolutely. So Atherton LR versus Cheadle Town.
Atherton LR.
Draw.
All right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Burscough versus Prestwich Heys. I'm going for Burscough. Exton versus Pilkington.
Exton.
Well, listen.
We just saw the reverse, didn't we?
We had Glenn Hurst on the show last week, as you know. He's took over the reins at Pilkington. They couldn't win. They got off to a 3-0 defeat there.
At Exton Villa, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Exton Villa, so they're playing them back to back. Listen, it's very much half time to them now. The 3-0 down, and they try to sort of bridge that gap a little bit, bring them a little bit closer. So I still think Exton Villa are going to win that one, but I think it might be a bit
closer this time.
A bit closer this time. But
very well.
Good luck to Glyn, of course.
Yep.
FC St Helens versus Barnoldswick. I'm going for FC St Helens.
Yes. Do you know what? No, I'm going to go for a draw this time. I think FC St Helens are on a bit of a slip recently. I think they're relying an awful lot on Joe Barker. Is it Joe or Tom? One of them to make up the goals, but I think Barnoldswick beating who was it that they beat? That really good team from the semi from higher up. Who did Barnoldswick beat? 3-1.
Oh.
For Pete's sake.
Well, you look at that, and I'll talk about Glossop North End versus Padiham.
Fine.
I don't know which way to call this one.
Well, that's helpful, isn't it?
It is.
Right, it's Joe Barker that plays for FC St Helens for one.
Yeah, it wasn't Ronnie then, no.
You've been watching too much Porridge.
I know, I told you. So, Glossop North End versus
Bradford Park Avenue. They beat Bradford Park Avenue.
Yeah, in the
cup.
In the cup.
Yeah. Even so, I'm going to go slightly left field and say Barnoldswick get a point. Glossop North End versus Paddy, two teams that play on grass. Glossop having a bit of a decent run. I will say Padiham only just, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw.
Fine.
Earlham versus Litherland. Ramsbottom versus City of Liverpool. Ramsbottom. Stockport Town versus West Didsbury. I'm going for West Didsbury.
I'm going to draw.
Wythenshawe versus Charnock. Going for
Wythenshawe.
FC Isle of Man versus South Liverpool. Going for FC Isle of Man.
South Liverpool.
Division 1 North, Ashton Athletic versus McGull. I'm going to go for McGull. Colne versus Bacup. I'm going for Bacup. Darwin versus Main Road. I'm going for Darwin. Fullwood Amateurs versus AFC Blackpool. I think AFC Blackpool are just finding a little bit of form at the moment, so I think I'll go for
having lost to Main Road by 2-1. Fullwood Amateurs for me.
When did they? I haven't looked at before.
Didn't they lose to Main Road like last week?
Oh, I don't know. Listen, you're taking... This show's going to be about 6 hours long if you're not careful.
Because I'm just nitpicking at you.
Yeah, you're nitpicking. You've nitpicked at me all the way through
Main Road 2, AFC Blackpool 1, Monday the 19th of January.
The 19th of January was that? Yeah. Well, they had a win before that, though, didn't they?
I mean, every team's had a win before that. AFC Blackpool. I don't think they played at the weekend.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of AFC Liverpool. Shut up. Right, okay, yeah, but listen, I'm going for AFC Blackpool anyway. MSB Walton versus Ashton Town. I'm going for MSB Walton.
I'm going to go Ashton Town.
Nelson versus Steeton. Nelson. Squiresgate Garstang.
Squiresgate. It's an M55 derby, that.
I'm going for a draw. Thornton Clevelands versus Holker Old Boys. I'm going for a draw again. Division 1 South, All Scots Heath versus Stockport Georgians. Georgians I'm going for. Camelaird versus Hormond. I'm going for Camelaird. Cheadle Heath Nomads versus Asheville. I'm going for a draw. Eccleshall versus Alsager Town. I'm going for Eccleshall. Folleymere Runcorn. Sandbach Telford.
Draw.
Telford. Shawbury United versus Wolverhampton. I'm going for Shawbury.
The Boswell revival carries on.
Yeah. Stafford Town versus New Mills. Stafford Town. Wolverhampton Casuals versus Barnton. I'm going for Barnton. Monday, the 26th of January, Premier Division, Stockport Town versus Wythenshawe. I'm going for Wythenshawe. Premier Division on the Tuesday night, AFC Liverpool versus Exton. I'm going for AFC Liverpool.
Same.
Chatterton versus Cheadle. Going for Chatterton. Charnock Town versus Barnoldswick. I'm going for Charnock.
Charnock Richard even.
Charnock, what did I say?
Charnock Town.
Charnock Richard.
Go to bed.
I know, yeah. It's been a difficult, long week. City of Liverpool versus Burscough. Going for Burscough. Longridge Town versus
Landlords versus Tenants. Love that. Longridge versus Padiham. Oh, Padiham.
Yeah. Padium. Listen, talking about that City Liverpool Burscough game, what's the odds on another sending off for Brody?
Yeah,
I think it's shortened, doesn't it?
I think, I don't. Yeah, he's got to behave himself, otherwise he'll be getting an eviction.
Well, listen, he won't be able to anyway. He'll be having a sad bet. He'll be a bet on a Ben, won't he?
So he'll have to sit in the stand, 3 rows up.
Yeah, it'll be a week to the day. Yeah, so he'll be he'll be banned.
Hysterical. Okay,
he might even get a stadium ban. We don't know, but
brilliant.
First Division North.
From the car park.
Colne versus AFC Blackpool. Go for AFC Blackpool.
Yeah.
Daisy Hill versus Ashton Town. I'm going to go for Ashton Town. Droylsden versus Garstang. Droylsden. Holker Old Boys versus McGull. I'm going to go for Holker. Division 1 South. Alsager versus Asheville. Foley-Mere versus Allscott. I'm going for Foley-Mere. Market Drayton versus Sandbach. Sadly, Sandbach. When I say sadly, but of course, Dan
we like Dan
is a big friend of the show. Wolverhampton Casuals versus Runcorn Town. It's got to be Runcorn Town.
It has.
Yeah, Premier Division on the Wednesday, Everton LR versus FC Armand. Everton LR. Litherland versus FC St Helens. I'm going to go for FC St Helens. South Liverpool versus Pilks. You know what? I've got a feeling that Pilks might get their first win under Glenhurst if they don't already do it against Exton.
I think South Liverpool are going to have this one. Right. I've got to be honest.
West Didsbury and Chorlton versus Abbey Hay. West Didsbury. Wednesday, First Division North, Nelson versus Squires. Game going for Nelson. And First Division South, Eccleshall versus Shawbury. Still, I think it'll be Eccleshall. Stafford versus Telford Town versus Stafford Town. Not the town of the birth of Shakespeare.
No.
Not this time. Anyway, so what are you going for, Stafford?
Not even the birth of Slash.
No, Slash. Yeah. So what were you going for there? Telford. I am going for a draw.
Fine.
So that concludes the predictions for the week ahead in the Northwest Counties. No cup games involved there for a change, which is a bit of a change really, because it's been a lot of cup games. Hopefully there won't be... when's this inclement weather coming back again? Is it due now? Is it next week? I think it's next week, isn't it? So we might see
more storms.
Snow, I think, and ice.
I can't be doing with that. We had enough with the frozen pitches and then the waterlogged pitches.
Well, I think we might get through it over the next week, but the week after, I think the more inclement weather might come back, and there might be a few postponements.
No.
But listen, we've come to the very end of the show again. Another epic
race through from the Speaking Frankly Football Show. We just know what we're doing now.
Yeah. Well, we know what we're doing, but like we're 2 hours 10 before the pre-show show.
It's about 2 hours 20
with all the jingles in it as well. 2
hours 30.
Well, yeah. But listen, that's about average for us, isn't it?
I suppose so. Yeah.
But another interesting show. Some really, really good controversial subjects there, and we obviously talk about what we've learned over the past week or so. I just feel as though football careers can be destroyed so easily by losing your temper very, very quickly. And I'm not saying I feel sorry for Tommy Taylor, but I'd like to think there's a road to redemption, if that's the right saying. Whether he can redeem himself, maybe. I don't know. But, he's got to that stage in his career now where he's 35 anyway, and he might think,
he's too old for this kind of crap.
Yeah. He should know better at that age anyway, to be perfectly honest with him. But, like I say, there's just a thin line between success and failure. There always has been, really.
Yeah.
Is it full of winners and losers? He's one of the losers this week.
He certainly is this week.
The supporters of, whether they've ever identified the supporters of
Chasetown,
if they're ever identified, to get a lifetime ban. Listen, that's the other thing, of course, isn't it? We readily give out lifetime bans for supporters that encroach on the pitch or commit violence in a stadium. And yet, when we talk about players having lifetime bans, we're a little bit more protective towards them.
We are a little bit, yeah. We are.
We contradict ourselves in many ways.
To a degree, yeah.
So my thing is, listen, just think about your actions.
Yeah.
there's always
a consequence.
To
really
your actions. So
that's just be a grown up about it, man. Yeah. It's only a game.
What's your thoughts on the last week?
Just stop diluting football to the point where it's just inconceivable for teams to actually carry on, make a legacy for themselves, create a community, bring inclusivity to the sport. I think if you just, you've mentioned it before, but if you just stomp off and start your own team just for the sake of being able to dictate the freedom of it on your own terms, you're actually far more likely to find yourself folding within 5 years' time. Or something, some years similar to it. And I think we're talking about it. We've seen it so much in Merseyside, but we're probably seeing it in far more places across the British Isles, where teams are starting and then folding because they'd rather not buy into a team that's already existing and helping strengthen that legacy. And the football teams are kind of dying out, and the quality of the football that we're seeing is dying out because of it as well, and that's such a shame. So if you're going to do anything, commit to enhancing a team's legacy, not try and build your own teams. Yeah, just stop trying to build your own for your own selfish reasons, man, because it just the chances of success are very, very
slim. And it comes back and pinches you in the bum somewhere along the line, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, and I think we are. We've seen it with teams in the Liverpool Counties Prem this season. We might well see it higher up the league in years to come as well.
Well, we already know that. Witness, they folded before the season started.
And then started again.
Yeah, and that's the pressure. And listen, if there's an open door policy to letting them back, and they've certainly got to prove themselves to get back into the North West Counties. Yeah. There's a big push behind it because they feel as though I probably feel a little bit more sympathy for Witness than I would do, say, for Flixton, who are backed by a huge multi-millionaire financier. So there's a little bit more sympathy towards Widnes getting back into the non-league pyramid. Yeah. But then we raised this question weeks ago. If we'd have took a year out and applied to get back into the North West Counties, would we have stood a better chance than that? And the circumstances where we're in now, where there's no chance of us really finishing in the top 5 to get promoted?
Very, very slim chances, I think, are, unless the same thing has happened to Granby Toxteth Athletic, are... points bridge between 1st and 5th is now 11. Yeah. So we've got very little time to turn things around, and in fact now we've got 11 games to do it rather than the 12 that we thought we had.
Yeah.
And that's a deep shame, but I think it's all part of our regrowth from the bottom. At least we've got a consistent squad now. We're not scrambling for players. We've not used nearly as many players this season as what we were last season, by about 60%, I think it is.
Yeah, and
the players that are turning up are good quality players. They want to play for Skem. It's just getting them to use all the strengths to their advantage. And I think with Andy Barlow at the helm, we'll do that.
Yeah. Really. One thing it proves, beyond a shadow of doubt, is that regardless of whether we talk about dilution, we talk about violence or aggravation or kids spoiling the reputation of some of these football clubs, there's never a dull moment in football, is there?
No, not at all.
And on that note, I'll leave the final words to the not so dulcet tones of AJ Vergette.
Thank you. I thought you were going to replace that with a better superlative, but fine, sod you. You've been listening to Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ Vergette, and him, old grumpy gills over there, Frank Hughes. This podcast is available on most streaming services, wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Amazon Music. Please rate and review. Give me 5 stars. Give him 1 star, because I'm the thing that's carrying this. Also, we're available on social media sites as well, such as Facebook and X, under the banner term Speaking Frankly Football Show. And so from not so dulcet and grumpy gills, we bid you goodbye, and we'll see you next week for another episode of the show. Till then, TR.